What's up, everybody? Hello, hello. We should be live. Let me just double check. There we go. Get that pinned message set here. There we are. Welcome on in, everybody. If you're new to the channel, my name is Ryan, or Try for short. Preferred pronouns they, them, but any and all are acceptable. We're back at it again with Such a Brew About Nothing, episode 4. That's right. We've been doing this weekly. I wanted to do a bunch of episodes for the month of February to start off this new series. Then starting in March, will be bi-weekly. So we'll be doing twice a month instead of every week. So don't be alarmed if you don't see an episode next Sunday. It's totally fine. I promise. It's totally normal. But excitingly, we will have some new Ninja Turtles magic cards to talk about on the next one in 2 weeks. But we're not doing that today. We're going to talk about a different big green machine today. Because, of course, we are talking about our mono green Omnath and a mono red Chandra. So if you use some big mana and big aggressive, then you're going to be in for a special treat today. Just want to remind everybody that ads are incoming in like 4 minutes. If you don't want to watch ads, there's a few ways you can do that. Subscribing, you get 20 free emotes you can use all across Twitch. If you have Amazon Prime, you can get a free subscription to a Twitch channel of your choice with Twitch Prime every month. Why not consider this one? I think it's a pretty good channel, but I'm also pretty biased. In addition, if you were gifted a sub and you want to pay it forward so that maybe a member of the community doesn't have to watch ads, you can gift subs yourself. It's a great way to support and help a homie. Try to skip the ads. In addition to those, if you have Twitch Prime, you can watch ad-free across all of Twitch, and Twitch then pays the streamer the same amount as if a Tier 1 sub was watching during a scheduled ad break. On top of those, I understand the economy is a mess right now. You can't always afford to sub. I get it. If you still want to toss a coin to your streamer, you can do so in the form of bits. It's a great way to say, hey, thanks, I like what you do, without breaking the bank. But that said, we're through the promos. Also want to shout out Happy Boy Games for the music we'll be listening to tonight, as well as Omega on Deck. We'll be listening to a bunch of the different themes that Happy made for the channel. This is now officially the Twitch theme for us. This was voted on by you, the community, as the favorite. I really like it, and I hope you do too. So we'll be listening to some of those, and then we'll switch it up a little bit. We'll go back to listening to some Omega on Deck music as well. That said, if you want to see any of the deck lists for the decks we're talking about here tonight, you can always check out the Architect deck list pages that we've posted in the chat, in the pinned message, wherever it's at. You can see those there. But without further ado, hey, we got a couple minutes before the ads kick in. Let's just jump into it. I've explained if you don't want to watch the ads, you know how. Or also, well, I guess I should say this at the top. If you miss any part of tonight's podcast, you can catch it on our Twitch channel for a limited period of time. But the VODs do go live on our YouTube at youtube.com/Triune System. You can catch them there. They usually go live the very next day. But that all said, let's get into tonight's decks, shall we? There we go. Tilt the camera right a little bit there. So, up first, we have the boy. We have Omnath, Locus of Mana. This is the commander for the deck. Costs 2 and a green for a legendary elemental creature. It's a 1/1, but says you don't lose unspent mana as steps and phases end. And Omnath, Locus of Mana gets +1/+1 for each unspent green mana you have. So, this is kind of what the deck is built around. We're going to be tapping our lands for mana, storing it up in Omnath, making him bigger, trying to kill our opponents with the commander, or possibly storing up that mana for big creatures that we can then get out and try to kill the table that way. So, let's dive into the rest of the creatures in this deck. Up first, we have Paradise Chocobo, which is a reprint of Birds of Paradise. 1 green for a 0/1 bird with flying, and tap, add 1 mana of any color. It's just a good rate mana dork. It's got flying. If you're able to put like 1/1 counters or something on it, sometimes you can kill opponents with them, but just the fact that it's got that mana ramp ability, very good to help us get Omnath out a turn earlier, maybe beef him up, start stockpiling that mana. Next up, we have another Final Fantasy card, Ancient Adamantoise, 5 green, green, green for a 8/20 turtle with Vigilance and Ward 3. Says damage isn't removed from this creature during cleanup steps. So, any damage done to it is stockpiled on it. But all damage that would be dealt to you and other permanents you control is dealt to this creature instead. So it basically gives you an extra 20 health to work with, which of course in Commander you have 40 life. This is a great way to keep you alive while you continue stockpiling your mana. And when this creature dies, you exile it and create 10 tapped treasure tokens. So it costs 8, but when it dies, it does make you 10 mana. Pretty good overall. And it's a 8/20 Vigilance, so you can send it into the red zone and keep attacking with it. Maybe try and get it killed off to give you some mana acceleration. Also Ward 3, so it's pretty annoying to try and remove for your opponents. Or you just leave it back and let people attack you, because then you just get an extra 20 toughness to work with. This is one of the newer cards that came out with Final Fantasy that I really like, especially if you're in mono green. It can just help keep you alive. Next up, we have another Final Fantasy card, Tifa Lockhart, 1 and a green for a legendary human monk, 1/2 with trample and landfall. Whenever a land you control enters, you double Tifa Lockhart's power until end of turn. This card is doing rounds in Standard still. If you're getting multiple land drops, it's a great way to just get her big and send her into the red zone. Next up, we have yet another big green beat stick, Impervious Great Worm, 7 green, 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 so it costs 10 mana for a 16/16 worm with Convoke. So each creature can help you cast this spell. Each one that you tap while casting the spell either pays 1 or one of that creature's color. We're in mono green, so any of our creatures we tap can help us pay for the green pips if need be. And is indestructible. So you got a 16/16 indestructible. This can just wreck shop on your opponents. Moving on, we have Beast Whisperer, just a classic card draw engine. 2 green, green for a 2/3 elf druid with whenever you cast a creature spell, draw a card. It's just a good card draw engine. Every time, we've got quite a few creatures in this deck. Every time we cast one, we're getting more cards, so all of our creatures are cantripping. Cantrip is, of course, you know, whenever you cast something, you replace it with another card. So, just a good rate to keep things in your hand to use all that mana you're stockpiling in Omnath. Next up, we have Fauna Shaman, 1 and a green for a 2/2 elf shaman with pay a green tap, discard a creature card to search your library for a creature card. Reveal it, put it in your hand, then shuffle. So you put something in the bin, maybe it's late game, you put your Birds of Paradise in the bin, You go get one of your big win con creatures, maybe an Ancient Adamantoise or an Impervious Great Worm. Just get it straight to hand. Great way to just kind of repeatable tutor creatures. Next we have the Big Oof. Collector Oof, 1 and a green for a 2/2 Oof with activated abilities of artifacts can't be activated. With how prevalent things like food, treasures, clues, any of those things have become in Commander, this little hate bear is really great to slow down your opponents so that you can continue to stockpile your mana. Now it does kind of non-bow with the Ancient Adamantoise because of course all those treasures then become useless. But you just keep sending them into the red zone. And if your opponents don't want to block them, you're getting 2 damage. It's pretty decent. But most of the time your opponents will be obliged to try and kill this if you need it removed. Because they want to use their artifacts. Next up we've had 1 artifact hate, but what about second artifact hate? We have Manglehorn, 2 and a green for a 2/2 beast. With when Manglehorn enters the battlefield, you may destroy target artifact. So maybe your opponent got their turn 1 Soul Ring, kept a greedy hand. Great way to just blow up that Soul Ring, blast them back to the Stone Age. But also has artifacts your opponents control enter the battlefield tapped. So it keeps them off. Oh, yeah, what's up, chicken? What is a hate bear? Apologies. No. Hate bear. So the reason why it's called a hate bear, because the classic Magic card Grizzly Bears was 1 and a green for a 2/2 bear that had no abilities. A hate bear is like a grizzly bear, right? Same mana, same power, toughness, but usually has some sort of like stacksy piece that will slow down your opponent or stop them from playing certain things, right? So that's why it's very often called a hate bear, when you have a 2 mana 2/2 that does something that negatively affects your opponents. Also, welcome in. Welcome in. So yeah, Manglehorn is, we're getting that Rec Sage, Reclamation Sage ability of blowing up an artifact, but also slows down our opponents with, if they're doing treasure things or they're getting all their mana rocks out. So it's another great way to slow them down. Maybe play a little more artifact hate. Next up we have the big boy, Galta Primal Hunger, 2 green for a 12/12 legendary elder dinosaur that costs X less to cast, where X is the total power of creatures you control, and has trample. So I've very easily gotten this creature out for 2 mana with Omnath, because you just stockpile enough mana into Omnath and his power goes up, which then reduces the cost of Omnath. So you're getting a 12/12 trampler for like 2 mana pretty consistently. Just a great way to keep your opponents on the back foot. Keep the aggression up. That's what green likes to do. Just get big and stompy. Next up we have Kerbis Harvest Celebrant. X green for a 0/0 legendary tree folk. Kerbis Harvest Celebrant enters the battlefield with a number of 1/1 counters on it equal to the amount of mana spent to cast it. So, at minimum, you get a 2/2 for 2, because it counts those green pips. So if I pay 2 green, I get 2 1/1 counters. But I could pump a lot more mana into that if I need to. Also, you can remove a 1/1 counter from Kerbis and prevent all damage that would be dealt this turn to another target creature with a 1/1 counter on it. So it's a great way to protect some of your other stuff that you're putting 1/1 counters on. There's not a huge amount of 1/1 counter synergy in this, but there is a little bit. It's just a great way to help, you know, fog a kill spell or a damage spell, or it was kind of built as a foil to the mono red deck that we'll be talking about a little bit later on. Next up we have Fanghorn Tree Shepherd, 4 green, green, green for a 4/10 legendary Tree Folk. It says Tree Folk you control have vigilance. That includes itself. So you have a 4/10 vigilance. And whenever one or more Tree Folk you control attack, you add twice that much green mana. Again, with Omnath, we are stockpiling all of that green mana, right? So we attack with Fanghorn here. Fanghorn alone is going to boost up Omnath by 2 power and toughness. And has the additional line of you don't lose unspent green mana as steps and phases end. So this is kind of a nice little insurance because Omnath has the tendency of when he hits the table, your opponents will do anything to remove it. Because if you remove Omnath, well, the next time you move to a phase, the next phase, you lose all that mana. Fanghorn makes for a nice little backup to be able to keep that mana in your pool so that maybe you could recast Omnath. And just helps accelerate your mana. Next up, we have Godzilla Primeval Champion. This, of course, is the Godzilla version of Titanoth Rex. 7 green, green for an 11/11 dinosaur beast with trample, but more importantly, has cycling for 1 and a green. It says whenever you cycle Titanoth Rex, you put a trample counter on target creature you control. So just very good ability to give our commander trample. More often than not, Titanoth Rex is being used to give Omnath trample so that you can get in and try and kill an opponent with commander damage. But if you are trying to go wider, it's still an 11/11 trample. It's basically Galta. So it's another good pressure piece to keep your opponents on the defensive. Next up, we have Silverback Elder, 2 green, 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 so 5 total mana. For a 5/7/8 Shaman, says whenever you cast a creature spell, choose 1. You either get to destroy target artifact or enchantment. Look at the top 5 cards of your library. You may put a land from among them onto the battlefield tapped and put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order, or gain 4 life. So it can help keep you alive, it can help mana ramp you, or is your opponent playing some of those annoying prison pieces like Ghostly Prison, or one of the most hated cards in the format that I personally am fine with, I like it, Rhystic Study. You could just blow it up. You cast a creature, blow up their Rhystic Study. That's just great. On a 5/7 for 5 mana. Like, this thing stops attackers dead in their tracks. Nobody wants to attack into a 5/7. Next up, of course, we were going to have Nyx Bloom Ancient. 4 green, green, green for a 5/5 with trample. It's an elemental enchantment creature that says if you tap a permanent for mana, it produces 3 times as much of that mana instead. So, note that it is a permanent, so all of our lands are going to tap for triple, but so will Paradise Chocobo, right? This now becomes 3 mana on a 0/1 bird for 1 mana. That's just good. That's just very good. And of course, when your commander wants to stockpile all that green mana, it makes Omnath get out of control very quickly. Next up, we have Multani Yavamaya's Avatar. 4 green, green for a legendary elemental avatar, 0/0 with reach and trample that says Multani Yavamaya's Avatar gets +1/+1 for each land you control and each land in your graveyard. So, typically, it's coming in at minimum a 6/6. Reach and trample. But also has pay a 1 and a green, return 2 lands you control to their owner's hand, and return Multani from your graveyard to hand. So, this ability you activate from your graveyard. The nice thing about this is with Tifa Lockhart, when we have those extra lands being bounced to hand, we get to trigger her landfall ability again, where we get to double her power. So if you're just kind of drying up on your land drops, it's a great way to, did Multani die? Cool, let's bounce a couple lands back, we'll get some more landfall, trigger Tifa's doubling. Just keeps it consistently triggering on that landfall. And we do have a few other landfall payoffs you'll see here. Next we have Selvala, Heart of the Wild's 1 green for a legendary Elf Scout 2/3. With whenever another creature enters the battlefield, its controller may draw a card if its power is greater than each other creature's power. Now, this does help your opponents draw cards if they play the biggest creature. But between having Galta, Titanoth Rex, our own commander that becomes big, very often we do wind up being the one drawing the cards pretty consistently. Also, you pay a green, you tap Selvala, and you add X mana in any combination of colors to your mana pool, where X is the greatest power among creatures you control. Say, for example, we have 20 unspent mana in Omnath. He's a 21/21. We spend one of that, he goes to a 20/20. We then add 20 mana in green to our pool, making Omnath a 40/40. Selvala can make Omnath get out of control. You can become a very real problem to your opponents. And she does have many combo things, one of which you will see shortly. Next up we have a land. Wait, a creature? Wait, a land? Wait, a creature? It's Dryad Arbor, a land creature forest dryad, 1/1. You notice it has no mana cost because it does count it as your land for the turn, but comes in untapped. You can't tap it for mana because it does have summoning sickness. It is a creature, but it's a really nice, easy way to progress your mana. Because you will see we do have a spell that can get us Dryad Arbor for really cheap and just put it straight into play. And then just becomes basically a mana dork. Next up, of course, if you're in a big green mana deck, you're gonna see this card. If you're playing Omnath and you're not running Seedborn Muse, yes, it's a game changer, but this is what helps you keep pace with some of those 2026 Magic cards. We have Seedborn Muse, 3 green for a 2/4 spirit that says untap all permanents you control during each other player's untap step. So, now is our untap steps, comrade. That's right, you untap all of your lands and your creatures during each opponent's untap step. So, you untap all your lands, you tap them all for green, you float that into Omnath. Next opponent's turn, you untap all your lands, you tap them again, float all that mana into Omnath, and you just keep making him huge. Also, lets you attack, it effectively gives all of your creatures vigilance, because you attack with them, and then you're going to untap on your opponent's turn. That's just great. Or maybe you have Selvala out. You can use Selvala's ability at instant speed to add more mana into Omnath. This card just makes the deck super consistent and makes you very much the problem at the table. Next up, we have one of my favorite newer inclusions to the deck, Eudora Grave Gardener, 4 and a green for a 5/5 legendary Tree Folk Druid. Is a Tree Folk for the purposes of Fanghorn. Whenever another non-token creature you control dies, you may return it to the battlefield face down under its owner's control. It is a forest land. It has no other types or abilities. Did you kill one of our creatures? Well, it's just a land now. And it does return. And note that it doesn't return tapped. It returns face down, but it's untapped. It becomes a land that is immediately usable. If your opponent board wipes, if you can keep Eudora alive, all of the creatures that just got wiped become mana. It's just good on a 5/5 tree folk. If you have Fanghorn out, it's making you a bunch of mana. Next up, we have Elvish Piper, one of my favorite cheat spells in green. 3 and a green for a 1/1 elf that you pay a green, you tap it, put a creature card from your hand into play. Do you have a big Ancient Adamantoise that you don't want to spend 8 mana to play? What if you spend 1 mana and put Ancient Adamantoise directly into play? Now, note, yes, it does a little bit non-bow with Beast Whisperer because we are not casting the creature. It is putting it directly into play. So it doesn't count any cast triggers. But still, cheating mana cost for 1, pretty great. Next up, we have Protection for Omnath. Guardian Augmenter, 2 and a green for a Troll Wizard. It's 2/2 with Flash. Commander creatures you control get +2/+2. So, the nice thing is, it just makes Omnath a 3/3 for 3 base, which is just great, and gives your commander hexproof. Like I said, one of the biggest problems for this deck is Omnath doesn't stay on the table very long. If anyone in their right mind is playing against you and they know the shenanigans you're up to, Omnath is kill on sight. So Guardian Augmenter is a great piece to have on the table to keep Omnath alive. Next up, we have the sentence at the bottom is beautiful for, I assume you're talking about, Elvish Piper, I think. From Gaia grew the world, and the world was silent. From Gaia grew the world's elves, and the world was silent no more. Elvish teaching. I think that's the one you meant. It is a beautiful sentence. It's absolutely right, chicken. Next up, we have Goreclaw, Terror of Calcisma, 3 and a green for a legendary bear, 4/3 with creature spells you cast with power 4 or greater, cost 2 less to cast. So, this is great to help drop the cost on our Ancient Adamantoise, drops the cost on our Fanghorn, drops the cost on our, I just forgot his name, the mana tripler. It drops the cost on Impervious Greatworm, drops the cost on Titanoth Rex, Nyxbloom Ancient, that's who I was thinking of. So it just helps you get your big beat sticks out for cheaper. And, in addition, whenever Goreclaw, Terror of Calcisma attacks, for each creature you control with power 4 or greater, they get +1/+1 and trample until end of turn. So, again, another piece to keep trample on our commander. Oh, it was 2 more cards before. Here we go. Where's that at? Oh, on, I think on Seedborn Muse was the one you were talking about with the beautiful sentence. The land echoes our intentions, and the kami echoes the land. We must strive to live in harmony with the world, even when it seems to rise against us. From the Diary of Azusa. I think that's the one you meant. Or possibly Triad Arbor. Also fun. Touch no tree, break no branch, and speak only the question you wish answered. Von Yom, Elder Druid, to her initiates. Yeah, there's a lot of really great flavor text in green. I mean, there's a lot of great flavor text on Magic cards in general. Next up, we have... If you recognize this art, this of course is written in Phyrexian. I do have the translation pulled up because I don't have it in English. I only have it in Phyrexian. So this is Vorinclex, Voice of Hunger, the Terror himself. 6 green for a legendary Praetor Phyrexian. 7/6 with trample. and has whenever you tap a land for mana, add 1 mana of any type that land produced. And whenever an opponent taps a land for mana, that land doesn't untap during its controller's next untap step. So again, it's a great way, it's a great Staxy piece, it's a great mana accelerant, and it's a 7/6 trample for 8 mana, which with Goreclaw out, we're only paying 6 mana. This is just a good rate. It makes all of our mana add extra. It stops our opponents by freezing their lands down. Yeah. Vorinclex is kind of, it is a very salty card for a lot of people, but it's very good for this deck. Yes, it was the... Okay, cool. I did get the right flavor text. Next up, we have Soul of the Harvest. 4 green for a 6/6 elemental with trample. Whenever another non-token creature enters the battlefield under your control, you may draw a card. So, much like the Beast Whisperer we saw earlier, except that this is on ETB. So, if you have this and Beast Whisperer, you do get to draw 2 cards, because Beast Whisperer wants you to cast the creature. This wants a creature to enter the battlefield. So you get to draw 2 if you have both. It's pretty great. Also triggers if we have Elvish Piper, because we're putting a creature into play. So just more good, consistent card draw for green. Next up, we have Magus of the Order. 2 green for a human wizard, 3/3 with pay a green and tap, sacrifice Magus of the Order and another green creature. You search your library for a green creature card, put it onto the battlefield, then shuffle your library. So, you do lose 2 creatures. You lose this one and another, but you just get anything, any green creature card, because as you've seen, all of our creatures are green. You get any creature card directly into play. This, great way to get Nyxbloom Ancient. Great way to get Seedborn Muse. Great way to get Ancient Adamantoise or Impervious Great Worm. You want one of your big beat sticks? For 1 mana and 2 little bodies, you can go get it. It's a more fair tutor. We'll put it that way. Next up, we have one of the deck's win cons. Endray's Forerunners, 5 green for a 7/7 boar with Vigilance, Trample, and Haste. And when Endray's Forerunners enters the battlefield, other creatures you control get +2/+2, Vigilance, and Trample until end of turn. So you just get to overrun your whole board. They all become Vigilance, they all become Trample, you swing out with everything, they all stay up as blockers. It's just a nice little win con. Next up, we have Sylvan Basilisk. This seems like a weird include to a lot of people, but we will get into in a little bit here why this is in here. 3 green for a 2/4 Basilisk. Whenever Sylvan Basilisk becomes blocked by a creature, destroy that creature. So, anything that blocks it is immediately destroyed before it can deal damage. Now, it does want to constantly be on the attack, but you'll see why this is in here in just a minute. Next, we have Nylea Keen-Eyed, 3 and a green for a legendary enchantment creature god, 5/6 with Indestructible. As long as your devotion to green is less than 5, Nylea isn't a creature. It does count itself, so its devotion is look at the number of green mana pips you have on permanents in play. If you have 5 or more, you have a 5/6 Indestructible. It does count itself, so really you just need 4 other pips. But if you get, say, your Nyxbloom Ancient or your Endray's Forerunners, it becomes very easy to get this online. However, as good as a 5/6 Indestructible is, the rest of the text that is active even when it's just an enchantment is also important. Creature spells you cast cost 1 less to cast. All of our creatures are just 1 cheaper. And you can pay 2 and a green, reveal the top card of your library. If it's a creature card, put it into your hand. Otherwise, you may put it in your graveyard. So you can just start dumping mana from Omnath into this to set up your deck and maybe load up on creatures. If your opponent is about to kill Omnath, this is a great little mana sink to fill your hand with more problems. Next we have Zoprindel Hunger Dominus, 5 green for a 4/6 legendary Phyrexian Horror with reach. And at the beginning of each combat, double the power and toughness of each creature you control until end of turn. Mind you, this is also counting Omnath. So in that instance where we had 20 green mana in our pool, right? We have a 21/21 Omnath. It becomes a 42/42. That's just great. Now, it doesn't double the amount of mana in our pool, but it will double Omnath's power. But also has 2 green Phyrexian mana, so you can pay this with either green or 2 life for each of those pips. You sacrifice 2 other creatures, and you put an indestructible counter on Zoprindel Hunger Dominus. That's just great. You can make it an indestructible banner that makes your entire board gigantic. And on to our last creature, the novel itself. We have Questing Beast, 2 green for a legendary beast, 4/4 with Vigilance, Death Touch, Haste. Questing Beast can't be blocked by creatures with power 2 or less. Combat damage that would be dealt by creatures you control can't be prevented. And whenever Questing Beast deals combat damage to an opponent, it deals that much damage to target planeswalker that player controls. Again, there's so much on this card, but this was kind of the immediate include, because I very often will build decks with the idea of kind of like they build precons in Magic, right? I kind of build 2 decks to play against each other really well. Questing Beast is the, hey, are you playing against the mono-red Chandra deck that we'll see later? This is the perfect way to just keep getting in there and blowing up planeswalkers. And that's it for our creatures. Speaking of planeswalkers, there's many in this deck as well. So, up first, we're going to look at all the Garriks. We have Garrick Primal Hunter, 2 green for Planeswalker Garrick, enters with 3 loyalty. For +1 loyalty, put a 3/3 green beast creature token onto the battlefield. For -3 loyalty, you draw cards equal to the greatest power among creatures you control. If you've got enough mana sunk into Omnath, you can draw a sizable portion of your deck. And for -6, put a 6/6 green worm creature token onto the battlefield for each land you control. So, one of the things that I've seen people do as deck tech for this, right? It costs 5, comes in at 3. If we have Doubling Season, which isn't in this deck yet, you can because it would come in with 6 loyalty, you could instantly blow him up and make 5 6/6 worms. Now, I will tell you up front, I have never used the ultimate on Garrick. It's just there for drawing cards and making bodies. It just makes good blockers. Speaking of, we have Beast Token. We have second Beast Token. These are 4/4s. I just like the art on them. Next we have Garrick Savage Herald, 4 green for legendary Planeswalker Garrick, enters with 5 loyalty. For +1 loyalty, reveal the top card of your library. If it's a creature card, put it in your hand. Otherwise, put it on the bottom of your library. So this has got that Nylea activated ability text, and it just adds more loyalty. For -2, target creature you control deals damage equal to its power to another target creature. So you're getting a bite spell, right? If you make Omnath big enough, you can -2 and just kill a problematic creature of your opponent's. And then for -7, until end of turn, creatures you control gain, you may have this creature assign its combat damage as though it weren't blocked. Again, it's another way to get around your opponent's blockers. You throw Omnath in there, you can say he's going to deal his damage as though he's not blocked, you trample over, you kill him with commander damage. Next we have another Garruk. We have Garruk Unleashed, 2 green for a legendary Planeswalker Garruk. Enters with 4 loyalty. For +1 loyalty, up to 1 target creature gets +3/+3 and gains trample until end of turn. Great thing to just pop on your Omnath. Also, -2, create a 3/3 green beast creature token. Then, if an opponent controls more creatures than you, put a loyalty counter on Garruk Unleashed. So it's just a nice way to boost him up. So this only costs -1, effectively, if you make the beast and you have an opponent that has a super wide board. And for -7, you get an emblem with, at the beginning of your end step, you may search your library for a creature card, put it onto the battlefield, then shuffle. I have yet to actually get that to work because very often, if you've ever played a Planeswalker in Commander, they become kill on sight for a lot of people, especially when they start looking at how close you are to popping that ultimate. But he's just there to give us trample. That's a lot of what he does. And there's the 3/3 beast. Next up we have Vivian Reed. 3 green for a legendary Planeswalker Vivian. 5 loyalty. +1 loyalty. Look at the top 4 cards of your library. You may reveal a creature or land from among them and put it into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. So this does slightly more than that Garruk we saw, because it'll look at the top 4 and get you a creature or land. So it's a little more versatile in what she does. For -3 loyalty, destroy target artifact, enchantment, or creature with flying. It's just good removal. You just get a Broken Wings or a Naturalize. And for -8 loyalty, you get an emblem with creatures you control get +2/+2 and have Vigilance, Trample, and Indestructible. I have gotten this to pop a few times, and man, it feels good when you're like, you know, I'm just going to do Endray's Forerunners, but on everything, and give them Indestructible. If you pop the ultimate on this, your opponents probably will concede on the spot, because then they have no idea how to deal with your board. There's the emblem, which of course is, so fun fact, for many of my Planeswalkers, I've drawn the emblems for them. This is the emblem I made for Vivian Reed, the one that gives +2/+2, Vigilance, Trample, and Indestructible. I also wrote some flavor text on this emblem. It says, I'm a people person. If by people you mean creatures of the forest. And there's a little bear and a little wolf. Next up, we have Vivian, Champion of the Wilds. 2 and a green for a legendary Planeswalker Vivian. Enters with 4 loyalty. And has a static ability, you may cast creature spells as though they had flash. This is, again, a great use for your Omnath mana pool. Because if your opponent's about to kill your Omnath, you can just dump your hand onto the table. +1 loyalty until your next turn, up to 1 target creature gains Vigilance and Reach. Just a great way to keep a blocker. And for -2 loyalty, look at the top 3 cards of your library, exile 1 face down, put the rest on the bottom of your library in any order. For as long as it remains exiled, you may look at that card and you may cast it if it's a creature card. I have had this whiff before. It does suck, but the fact that you could potentially get an extra card in hand, if you consider it that way, right? Because it exiles it, and it doesn't say as long as Vivian's around. It just says for as long as it's exiled, you can cast it, if it's a creature. So just, it's effectively card advantage. Next up, we have Vivian, Arcbow Ranger, 1 green, green, green for a legendary Planeswalker Vivian. Enters with 4 loyalty. For +1 loyalty, distribute 2 1/1 counters among up to 2 target creatures. They gain trample until end of turn. So you could put both counters on one creature. You could put a 1/1 counter on 2 different creatures. This, again, remember that the creature we had before that said, let me find it here. There we go. Kerbis. This guy. Remove a 1/1 counter from Kerbis. Prevent all damage that would be dealt to another target creature with a 1/1 counter on it. That's where our 1/1 counters come from. Right there. And then Kerbis just says, oh, were you about to kill my thing? Nah. Instead, I'm stopping all that damage. But it also gives your creature trample. This is also a great way to proc your Tifa Lockhart. You pop a couple 1/1 counters on her. She becomes a 3/4. That you drop a land, she becomes a 6/4 with trample. And you can see how it can get out of hand quickly. For -3 loyalty, target creature you control deals damage equal to its power to target creature or planeswalker. So you're getting a little bit more of a wider bite spell. You can just remove a creature that's a problem, or if your opponent has a planeswalker that's a problem, you can just punch it. And then for -5 loyalty, you may choose a creature card you own from outside the game, reveal it, and put it into your hand. This does not work in Commander because there is no sideboard. Wish spells do not work, but if your table agrees on it, then I guess you could use that ability. But typically, you're using it for the 1/1 counters and for the punches. Next up, we have Vivian Monsters Advocate. 3 green, green for a legendary Planeswalker Vivian. Enters with 3 loyalty. Has a static ability. You may look at the top card of your library anytime, and you may cast creature spells from the top of your library. It's just great. Great way to fill your board. For +1 loyalty, you make a 3/3 green beast creature token. Put your choice of a vigilance counter, a reach counter, or a trample counter on it. It's just a great way to make bodies, and you get to choose the mode. Is your opponent doing flyers? Put a reach counter on it. Do you want to stay on the aggressive while maintaining blockers? Put a vigilance counter. Do you need to just trample over a bunch of little 1/1 idiots? Put a trample counter, right? I love the modality of this. And then for -2 loyalty, when you cast your next creature spell this turn, search your library for a creature card with lesser converted mana cost, put it onto the battlefield, then shuffle your library. It can do it the turn it comes down. So I've done this where, like, I get this, I cast, because you have tons of mana with Omnath, right? So you do this. Now, mind you, it is looking at the mana value of the card. So, for example, Galta. Galta is 12 mana. That costs less for all the power of creatures we have. But when you use this ability, it's looking at the printed mana cost, right? The mana value. So, you -2, you drop Galta for 2, you go get anything from your deck directly into play. It's a very good ability. Then we have our Beast token. Next up, we have Vivian on the Hunt. 4 green, green for a legendary Planeswalker Vivian. Enters with 4 loyalty. For +2 loyalty, you may sacrifice a creature. If you do, search your library for a creature card with mana value equal to 1 plus the sacrificed creature's mana value. Put it onto the battlefield, then shuffle. So it's a great accelerant, right? Do you have a 4-drop creature that you want to turn into a 5-drop? Great. Drop that 4-drop, plus tick Viv. Go get your 5-drop. And so on, right? It can just continue to work that way. You can progressively get bigger threats into play. For +1 loyalty, mill 5 cards, then put any number of creature cards milled this way into your hand. Again, great way to refill keep you lots of creatures in your hand. And for -1 loyalty, create a 4/4 green warrior, Rhino Warrior creature token. So, if nothing else, you pay 6 mana, you get a 4 loyalty planeswalker, you -1, you get a 4/4 body. There's the Rhino that I use. I know it's not the Rhino Warrior, and the Rhino Warrior doesn't have trample, but it's a 4/4, and I liked it because it's shiny. Next up, we have Nissa, who shakes the world. 3 green, legendary planeswalker Nissa with 5 loyalty. Whenever you tap a forest for mana, add an additional green. Mana acceleration. For +1 loyalty, put 3 +1/+1 counters on up to 1 target non-creature land you control. Untap it. It becomes a 0/0 elemental creature with vigilance and haste that's still a land. It's like Earthbend, except it gives it vigilance, and you untap the thing. So you can use one of the lands you just tapped to pay for Nissa, to untap a land, make it a creature, attack with it, and then tap it for 2 mana. So it's just a great rate. She effectively comes down for 2, right? Because you tap a land, right? You put counters on it. It untaps that land, so that basically pays for 1 of the mana you spent. Then, that land now, if it's a forest that you chose, now will tap for an additional green, so it'll tap for 2 mana. So effectively, this is a planeswalker that costs 2 mana. But also has an additional ability of -8 loyalty. You get an emblem with lands you control have indestructible. Search your library for any number of forest cards. Put them onto the battlefield tap, then shuffle your library. I have used this before with Seedborn Muse, and it's disgusting. Because you just go get all of the forests out of your deck, you put them into play, you pass the turn, you've now got a ton of indestructible lands that you just pump into your Omnath that are all tapping for extra mana. There is the Nissa emblem I made. You got Nissa and Chandra there. This was before they were confirmed as the Gruul Friends, right? Before we had, was it March of the Machine Aftermath? This was before we had that confirmation. I was one of the believers. So this is the lands you control have indestructible. The flavor text I wrote here, it's okay. The flowers said I could pick them as a gift for you. Nissa to Chandra. Next up, we have another Nissa. Nissa Ascended Animist. This card art hurts me every time I look at it, but it's too good not to play in this deck. 3 green, Phyrexian green. So it's 7 mana. Or 5 mana and 4 life. Or 6 mana and 2 life. Right? However you want to pay it. Because it's legendary planeswalker Nissa. Enters with 7 loyalty, asterisk. Because it has completed, the Phyrexian mana can be paid with either green or 2 life, but for each Phyrexian green paid with life, this planeswalker enters with 2 fewer loyalty counters. So if you're spending 5, it does come in with only 3 loyalty. But if we're in big green, you could pay full retail for this, have it come in at 7, and instantly proc its ultimate, which we'll look at in just a second. For +1 loyalty, you create an XX green Phyrexian horror creature token, where X is Nissa Ascended Animist's loyalty. So if we pay full retail, we get an 8/8, because we get that +1 loyalty. If we only pay the 5, we make a 4/4. That's not nothing. For -1 loyalty, destroy target artifact or enchantment. You just get to naturalize for -1 loyalty. And for -7, which again, if you pay the full 7 mana, you can do this instantly the turn she comes down. Until end of turn, creatures you control get +1/+1 for each forest you control and gain trample. That's just a great overrun. It's for each forest, right? We're in mono green. If we pay the full retail at 7 lands, we get +7/+7 and trample. Just a good overrun. And then there's the token that I use for the 0/0 Phyrexian Horror. I know it's a zombie army, but those tokens are actually really hard to find. So this does the job. Next up, let's have a look at our enchantments. More permanents. Of course, we're in big mana. So, up first, we have Rites of Flourishing, 2 and a green for an enchantment. At the beginning of... I believe you, you believer. Thank you. I do build a lot of decks in the magical fairy Christmas dreamland of, hey, this may not work, but if it does, it'll be cool. So Rites of Flourishing here is an enchantment. At the beginning of each player's draw step, that player draws an additional card, and each player may play an additional land on each of their turns. This is just great with Tifa Lockhart out. We get to double her power twice, and we get to draw more cards. Now, yes, this is symmetrical, so it's going to help your opponents too. But the easiest way to keep an Omnath around is to play a little group hug. You do some things that help your opponents out, and they let you keep your creatures a little longer. Next up, we have Garruk's Uprising, 2 and a green enchantment. When Garruk's Uprising enters the battlefield, if you control a creature with power 4 or greater, draw a card. Static ability, creatures you control have trample. That's just great. And whenever a creature with power 4 or greater enters the battlefield under your control, draw a card. It just keeps cards in hand and gives all your stuff trample. This is one of the best enchantments in green if you're doing big stompy things. Next up, we have, this is the Secret Lair printing of Heartbeat of Spring. This is from the Pride Across the Multiverse Secret Lair. 2 and a green enchantment. Whenever a player taps a land for mana, that player adds 1 mana of any type that land produced. So again, symmetrical, so it's fair, but you play a little politics. You get to play the, I'm helping, but you're making extra mana to make Omnath huge, or possibly ramp into your bigger creature spells. Get into your top end of stuff a little bit faster. Next, we have Defense of the Heart, 3 and a green for an enchantment. This is the Wilds of Eldraine bonus sheet art, the Enchanted Fables art. At the beginning of your upkeep, if an opponent controls 3 or more creatures, sacrifice Defense of the Heart, search your library for up to 2 creature cards, put those cards on the battlefield, then shuffle. This is consistently... I love it because you can drop this for 4 mana, and then your opponents, one of them will probably have 3 or more creatures. So then, start of your next turn, you're just getting 2 creatures into play. It does kind of a tooth and nail thing. We'll see tooth and nail shortly. Next up, we have Vernal Bloom, 3 and a green enchantment. Whenever a forest is tapped for mana, it produces additional green. I've used this, again, it's symmetrical because it looks at all forests. I have used this in pods where none of my opponents were playing green. It just felt so dirty because now all of my lands tap for extra green and theirs don't get anything. But I guess it could also be another politic piece. You know, if you are at a pod with a few green players, you just say, hey, help the green brothers out. Or sisters. Or they-thems. Next up, we have Glorious Sunrise, 3 green for an enchantment. Says, at the beginning of combat on your turn, choose 1. Creatures you control get +1/+1 and gain trample until end of turn. So just good overrun. Or... target land you control gains tap, add 3 green until end of turn, so mana acceleration. Or draw a card if you control a creature with power 3 or greater, so we get to keep our hand full. Or you gain 3 life. The modality of this is just great for 5 mana. You get to do so much with this. If you need an overrun, if you need mana acceleration, you need to draw cards, you need to stay alive a little longer, Glorious Sunrise is a great green enchantment. Next we have Gaia's Touch. First of all, Gaia should consent before Gaia touches. Stupid joke. Costs green for an enchantment. Says you may put 1 additional land in play during each of your turns, but that land must be a basic forest. You may sacrifice Gaia's Touch to add green to your mana pool. This ability is played as an interrupt. That's old format Magic text for you can do this at instant speed. So it's kind of a little down payment. The cool thing about it is you pay the 2 green, and now you get to play extra lands on your turn. But at instant speed, if I just don't need this anymore, I just get rid of it, and it paid for itself. It refunds its cost. Next, we have Growing Rites of Itlimoc. 2 and a green for a legendary enchantment. When Growing Rites of Itlimoc enters the battlefield, look at the top 4 cards of your library. You may reveal a creature card from among them and put it into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in any order, and at the beginning of your end step, if you control 4 or more creatures, you transform Growing Rites of Itlimoc. What does it transform into? Hey, do you like Gaia's Cradle? What if we had Gaia's Cradle at home? Itlimoc, Cradle of the Sun. It's a legendary land that taps for green, or taps for green for each creature you control. It's Gaia's Cradle. For 3 mana, you get a creature. If you get a creature in your top 4, and then you pass your turn, and then you just get Gaia's Cradle. It's just great. Great mana acceleration. The nice thing I like about it, Gaia's Cradle, it's, in my opinion, slightly better. Like, yes, Gaia's Cradle you can drop for free and just makes you a ton of mana if you've got a big board. But this does have the additional text of taps for 1 green. So even if your opponent board wipes, you can still use this to make a mana at least. Next up, we have Wilderness Reclamation, 3 and a green enchantment. At the beginning of your end step, untap all lands you control. This with Seedborn Muse is really fun, because you get to tap out, dump all that mana into Omnath, move to your end step, untap your lands, instantly tap them all, and dump all that mana into Omnath. Seedborn Muse untaps all your lands on your opponent's untap, you dump all that mana into Omnath. So then you're getting 5 whole untaps in a 4-player pod. Well, 6 if you include your own regular untap. So you get 6 untaps worth of your lands. It just kind of gets a little nutty. It becomes out of hand real quick. Next up, we have Cryptolith Rite, 1 and a green enchantment. Creatures you control have tap, add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool. It just makes everything mana dorks. It's just good. Just good. Now all of our stuff becomes useful to make Omnath huge. Next up we have Lure. This is one of the few enchantment auras we have. 1 green for enchant creature, of course. So you put this on a creature. All creatures able to block enchanted creature do so. This is for Sylvan Basilisk. So remember Sylvan Basilisk that says when Sylvan Basilisk becomes blocked, you destroy the blockers. Let's have a look at Sylvan Basilisk again. Let me pull that up. Where is he? There we go. So, this is a nice little 2-card interaction. If you put Lure on Sylvan Basilisk, it says, hey, attack an opponent with Sylvan Basilisk, and their entire board gets blown up. That's just dope. If you really need to clear a problematic board, it's a great way to do it. Or, the other way I've used it before, pop it on Omnath. You got a big ol' Omnath in play? Throw Lure on it. then they have to block Omnath, and you're blowing up their board. Next we have Rancor, I Hardly Know Her. 1 green mana, enchantment aura, enchanted creature gets +2/0 and has trample, and when Rancor is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, return Rancor to its owner's hand. This is for Omnath. You just put this on Omnath. Now Omnath has trample, bigger power. Did they blow up Omnath? That's fine. Rancor comes back to hand. I'll replay Omnath, put Rancor back on it. It's just consistent trample. Next we have one of the few removal pieces in our deck, Kenrith's Transformation. 1 and a green for an enchantment aura, enchant creature. When Kenrith's Transformation enters the battlefield, you draw a card. And enchanted creature loses all abilities and is a green elk creature with base power and toughness 3/3. Do you have a problem? Solve it. Make them a 3/3 elk. There you go. They're out of the way now. It's no longer a problem. Next, we got the Swiftfoot Boots. 2 for artifact equipment. Equipped creature has hexproof and haste. Equips for 1. It's just extra protection for Omnath. Maybe you want to attack with him the turn that he came down. Dump a bunch of mana into him. Give him hexproof. Maybe you need to keep your Seedborn Muse alive. Maybe you want to pop some haste on your Selvala. There's just a lot of uses for this. However, downside, if Collector Roof is out, you cannot equip Swiftfoot Boots to anything. So it does kind of ding you a little bit, but it's the only artifact equipment that we have in the deck, so I'm not super worried about it. Next we have Expedition Map. 1 mana for an artifact. You pay 2, tap, sacrifice Expedition Map, search your library for a land card, reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle. You will see momentarily why we have this in here. Why do we need to pay 3 mana to go get a land when we're in mono green? Well, you'll see very soon. Next we have Soul Ring. 1 mana, artifact, taps for 2 colorless. It's just a good way to help get you some of your other things out without having to spend all of your green mana that you want to, of course, save in your Omnath. Next, we have Staff of Domination. 3 mana, artifact. You can pay 1 to untap Staff of Domination. You can pay 2 and tap to gain a life. You can pay 3 and tap to untap target creature. You can pay 4 and tap to tap target creature. Or you can pay 5 and tap to draw a card. This with Selvala, if you have a large enough creature, gives you infinite mana. What you then do with that infinite mana, I mean, you could tap your opponent's whole board, you could draw your entire deck, you could gain infinite life, anything you want. Yeah, this has the infinite combo, because we're in big green. I want to use all that green mana. Next we have Temple Bell. 3 mana, artifact, you tap, each player draws a card. It just helps keep your hand full, honestly. It's just useful. You can play the politics of it. You can say, hey, don't attack me, I'll let you draw a card. You tap it, everybody gets to draw a card. Alright, that was our artifacts and enchantments in the deck. Let's have a look at our instants and sorceries. So, we're in a mono green deck. You're probably going to see a lot of these types of spells. This is Cultivate, 2 and a green, sorcery, search your library for up to 2 basic lands, reveal them, put 1 onto the battlefield tapped, put the other in your hand, then shuffle. You just get to go get 2 lands out of your deck. And one of them comes into play immediately, so it can trigger any of your landfall stuff. Next we have Collective Voyage. 1 green mana for a sorcery with Join Forces. Starting with you, each player may pay any amount of mana. Each player searches their library for up to X basic land cards, where X is the total amount of mana paid this way. Puts them onto the battlefield, tap, then shuffles. This is the Pride Across the Multiverse version from the Secret Lair. Again, another good politics piece. You say, hey, everybody, we can all pay mana. Yo, what's up, Happy? How's it going? Welcome on in. Shout out to Happy Boy Games. Let me get you some shouties here. Composer of the music we are listening to. There we go. We got that shout out. Friends, if you're not already following my brother Happy Boy Games, then do so. They're a great streamer and generally great person as well. Welcome on in, Happy. Been here for about 10 minutes, just decided to say hi. Hey, that's fair. Sometimes you just gotta lurk a little. So, Collective Voyage, great way to play the politics, and all of your opponents can pay into it, as well as you. It's a great way to just go empty your deck of your lands. Very fun mana ramp. Next up, we have Eldritch Evolution. I can't speak today. Eldritch Evolution, 1 green. Was a very kind intro. Thank you so much. Yeah, of course, man. And I mean every word of it. I don't know why that sounded sarcastic. I promise it wasn't. It was genuine. Eldritch Evolution, 1 green for a sorcery. As an additional cost to cast Eldritch Evolution, sacrifice a creature. Search your library for a creature card with converted mana cost X or less, where X is 2 plus the sacrificed creature's converted mana cost. Put that card onto the battlefield, then shuffle your library and you exile Eldritch Evolution. So, do you need your Seedborn Muse? You sack a 3-drop, you sack Omnath, and you go get Seedborn Muse. I mean, you probably shouldn't sack Omnath, but realistically, you sack your Manglehorn, or you sack your Collector Oof if you need it off the table, and go get a 4-drop. Yeah, a lot of great use for this fetch spell. Next, we have another powerful game ender, Finale of Devastation, X green for a sorcery. Search your library and or graveyard for a creature card with converted mana cost X or less. Put it onto the battlefield. If you search your library this way, shuffle it. If X is 10 or more, creatures you control get +X and gain haste until end of turn. I have used this before, paid 10 mana, well, 12 total because it counts the other 2 pips. Pay 12 mana, you go get Endray's Forerunners, you put it into play. My whole board is now +12 because we got +10 there and +2 for Endray's, and have Vigilance and Haste and Trample. You just swing out with everything and kill the table. Finale of Devastation is the best overrun in big green mana. Next we have Primal Command, 3 green for a sorcery. Choose 2. Now, when you're choosing these modes, important to note, they do resolve in order. A lot of people miss this. I've seen this misused many times at a Magic table. Choose 2. Your first mode, target player gains 7 life. Second mode, put target non-creature permanent on top of its owner's library. Third mode, target player shuffles their graveyard into their library. Fourth mode, search your library for a green creature card, reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle. So, most commonly, I use this card to go get a creature card out of my deck. And sometimes either gain 7 life or put a problematic non-creature permanent on the top of my owner's library, right? Maybe they have a Ghostly Prison, maybe they have Rhystic Study. You get to remove it for a turn. But the thing that people miss, did your opponent drop a Rhystic Study? Did your opponent drop a, because it is a non-creature permanent. Did they drop a, what's the other one? Mystic Remora, right? Is there any problematic artifact or enchantment that your opponent has in play? Maybe a land even? You put it on top of their deck, and then you can choose the other mode to have them shuffle their graveyard into their library. Even if they have no graveyard, they still have to shuffle. So this can be removal for something, right? You have them put it on top and then shuffle. So it just potentially removes that problem for the rest of the game. But more often than not, it's being used as a tutor for a creature card we need. And gains you 7 life. Next up, we have Green Sun Zenith, X and a green for a sorcery. Search your library for a green creature card with converted mana cost X or less. Put it on the battlefield, then shuffle. And you shuffle Green Sun Zenith into its owner's library. This is my favorite turn 1 play in this deck. Turn 1, you play a forest. You spend 1 green and X equals 0. Do you remember Dryad Arbor, the land creature that costs 0? That's a land and a creature. You can just play your land, pay 1, get Dryad Arbor, put it into play. You've basically played 2 lands on turn 1. It's a fun little combination. Next, we have Green Sun's Twilight. X and a green. Reveal the top X plus 1 cards of your library. Choose a creature card and or land among them. Put those cards into your hand and the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. If X is 5 or more, instead put the chosen cards onto the battlefield or into your hand and the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. So, this, if you spend 6 total mana, you get to look at the top 6. You get any creature that you find and any land that you find, and you put them directly into play. That's just pretty good. Or you can, search as deep as you want. It's going to at least look at 1 card. And if you don't pay 6, you get to put them into your hand. Next up, we have the oldie but the goodie. Tooth and Nail. 5 green for a sorcery, modal spell here. Choose 1, search your library for up to 2 creature cards, reveal them, put them into your hand, then shuffle. Do you have some combo piece things that you need? Go get them. Or put up to 2 creature cards from your hand onto the battlefield. So you just get to drop 2 big things for 7 mana. Also, and here's where it gets real fun, Entwine for 2. So you can choose both of these modes if you pay the Entwine cost. So it is a little pricey, but for 9 mana, go get 2 creatures, put them into play. Do you need your Nyx Bloom Ancient and your Seedborn Muse? Go get them for 9 mana. Hey, that's easily 13 mana worth of creatures that we just paid 9 for. Tooth and Nail, great tutor in this deck. Next we have Tranquility, 2 and a green, sorcery, destroy all enchantments. Fun fact, I believe she's still in the chat here. Let me move this out of the way so I can see. Yes, Chicken's still here. So fun fact, why is there so much enchantment and artifact removal in this deck? Well, because Chicken, who's in the chat, played a deck that was Earl. If you've never seen Earl, it's a Naya commander, gets +2/+2 for each enchantment you have in play. Usually you fill it with a bunch of aura enchantments that you put on Earl that make him disgusting to deal with. He has hexproof, so you can't target him at all. So this card has been in this deck ever since she first shuffled up Earl, because it just blows up all the enchantments. Maybe we have all those. It also kind of can help us. Maybe we have a lot of those mana doubler pieces that we were playing the politics with, and we want to remove that before we pass the turn. Cool. Just blow up all those enchantments. Remove them. Now your opponents don't get the benefit. So that's why you see a lot of enchantment hate in this deck. Next we have Archdruid's Charm. Green, green, green for an instant. Choose one. Search your library for a creature or land. Reveal it. Put it onto the battlefield. Tapped if it's a land. Otherwise put it in your hand, then shuffle. So you can tutor up a creature, put it in your hand. Or tutor up a land, put it into play. You can put a 1/1 counter on target creature you control. It deals damage equal to its power to target creature you don't control. So you can get a punch. Or exile target artifact or enchantment. Just good modal spell. You get to choose your use there for 3 green. Archdruid's Charm is just good modes. Next up, we have more mana ramp. Entish Restoration. Green, 2 and a green for an instant. Sacrifice a land. Search your library for up to 2 basic land cards. Then put them onto the battlefield tapped and shuffle. If you control a creature with power 4 or greater, instead search your library for up to 3 basic land cards and put them onto the battlefield tapped and shuffle. So, you tap one of your lands. You sacrifice it for this. If we have a 4-power creature, we get 3 lands back into play. With Tifa Lockhart, that triggers her double her power 3 times. So she's a 1/2 inherently. She becomes a 2/2, becomes a 4/4, and then becomes a 8/8. Now, if we played our land for turn, that could be 16/16. So for 3 mana, for a measly 3 mana, you play your land, you pay the mana, you sack the land you just played, you get 3 lands. Tifa becomes a 16/16. That's almost half an opponent's life right there. This is a very good mana ramp if you have Tifa Lockhart. Next up, we have our second game changer. That's right. This deck is a bracket 4, and it's because of the 2 game changers. Because Worldly Tutor, 1 green mana, instant speed, search your library for a creature card, reveal it, then shuffle, and put the card on top. So, my favorite bit here, wisdom is a seed nurtured with patience and care. It will bear new fruit each season. The most ironic part of this card is that it has the word seed in it, because very often this is pay 1 mana, go get Seedborn Muse, shuffle, put Seedborn Muse on top. You do this on your last opponent's end step so that you draw your Seedborn Muse and you just get to bring it out. And that's our instants and sorceries. We are cooking through this deck. We are going to take a look at our lands now. Let me just... There we go. So, for those who care about the stats, let me give you some details here as we look at these lands. Now, mind you, this is looking at all of the printings of the cards that you see in my deck list. But if you want to know, roughly what it would cost you to make a deck similar to this, the deck cost of this deck, based off of the value of the cards, is at almost $780. So it kind of runs a little pricey. But if you really want big green bracket 4, this deck can do some work. It can hold its own against pods. And also, again, for the stats, it does have a salt summary of 57.62. So, again, if you're unfamiliar with salt summary, it's how likely you are to hear a groan at the table from your opponents for the cards you're playing. A lot of that salt score comes from cards like Seedborn Muse. It comes from cards like Collector Roof. It comes from cards like Vorinclex. The median, so the most like what they consider the baseline for salt score in decks is 39.61. The average salt score for decks on Archidect is 41.09. This is a 57. So do note that if you build and play this deck, your opponents may not be happy about it, but it is really fun. And 9 times out of 10, those salty cards usually aren't hitting the table consistently unless you're tutoring them up. But it's still fun. This was one of my first decks that I built. It's kind of one of my pet decks. In fact, both of the decks we're looking at tonight are pet decks. So that's why you see a lot of the, tinkered new cards added, like this one. Xanarkand, Ancient Metropolis. This is one of the Final Fantasy land towns. That this land enters tapped and taps for green. Except it has Lasting Faith, 4 green for a sorcery adventure. You create a 1/1 colorless hero creature token and put a 1/1 counter on it for each land you control. So, ideally what you're doing is you have a bunch of lands, you pay 6 mana, you get a creature that's massive, and then you play this as your land for turn. Because, of course, adventures, we talked about this a little bit during the Final Fantasy deck we talked about, but adventures work with, you cast the spell part, you exile this card, then you can play this land later from exile. So you get both uses. It's a land and a spell. And there's the hero token. I don't know why I chose this one. I just like the art of it. He's a little bard. Next, we're going to have a look at our colorless lands that have some great utility for this deck. We have Karn's Bastion. It's a land, taps for colorless. You can pay for it and tap to proliferate. Hey, we've seen a few things that have 1/1 counters. We've seen quite a few planeswalkers in this deck. The ability to just have proliferate on command is great. Next up, we have Rogue's Passage. It's a land, taps for colorless, or you can pay 4 and tap, target creature can't be blocked this turn. Hey, did you sink a bunch of mana into Omnath? Is your opponent sitting, at 17 commander damage and you just need to get in there and finish them off? Take some of that mana from Omnath, dump it into this. Go get them. Next, we have a Welliquawi Tawa, which is to say Reliquary Tower. It's a colorless land that says you have no maximum hand size and taps for colorless. It's just great. With all the card draw stuff we have in this is a great way to be able to keep all of those cards in our hand and not have to discard them. Next, we have Myriad Landscape. Oldie but a goodie. Enters the battlefield tapped, taps for colorless, or you can pay to tap and sacrifice Myriad Landscape. Search your library for up to 2 basic land cards that share a land type. Put them onto the battlefield tap, then shuffle your library. Goes great with Tifa Lockhart. You drop this land, right? Then next turn, you go get 2 lands, you trigger her landfall twice. It's just good mana ramp. And there is why we have the this is why Exploration Map is in the deck. Boseiju Who Endures. Legendary land. Taps for a green. You have channel, 1 and a green. Discard Boseiju Who Endures. Destroy target artifact, enchantment, or non-basic land an opponent controls. That player may search their library for a land card with a basic land type. Note, it doesn't say a basic land. It just has to have the basic type. So maybe they have a problematic land, you blow it up, you go get one that has the basic land type. Put it onto the battlefield, then shuffle. This ability costs 1 less to activate for each legendary creature you control. So, if you have Omnath out, it's 1 green. You can blow up an artifact, enchantment, or a non-basic land of an opponent's. It's just good utility if you need removal. Expedition Map can go get this and put it in your hand. Or it can go get... ideally it can get any of your lands, but very often I do use Expedition Map to go get me this one. Yavimaya, Cradle of Growth, legendary land. Each land is a forest in addition to its other types. So now all of our lands are forests. They all make green mana and help Omnath. They all tap for extra with Nissa, who endures. They're all forests now, so they'll all produce extra green. This is just a great piece in this deck. And it does affect your opponents too. So, you just make all of the lands forests. Maybe that's helpful. Maybe it's harmful. Who knows? Next up we have Orenreath the Vastwood. It's a land, enters the battlefield tapped, taps for a green mana, or you can tap and put a 1/1 counter on each green creature that entered the battlefield this turn. This is in here for Tifa Lockhart, so that you can drop the land on turn 1, turn 2, you play Tifa, or maybe turn 3, right? You play Tifa, you tap this for a 1/1 counter, you put it on her, she becomes a 2/3, then your landfall triggers are going to make her a 4/3, and so on, right? It's just a good piece, especially if you're also doing your Tooth and Nail, your Defense of the Heart, right? Any of your pieces that are putting multiple creatures into play, you can just put a 1/1 counter on them. It's just helpful. It's repeatable. You don't have to sacrifice it to do it. All right, and then we are into our basics. Let's have a look at all of the fun basic lands we have. This is just art appreciation. So we have the full art. This is from Theros Beyond Death, full art forest. This is one of my favorite little fun factoids. I don't read a lot of Japanese. I don't understand a lot of kanji, but this is the kanji for forest. So here's your fun fact, chat. This symbol right here, this bigger one you see, for the audio listeners, you have no idea what I'm talking about, but this symbol here is the kanji for tree. You can see we have 1, 2, 3 of them. The kanji for forest is just 3 trees. What is a forest? It's a bunch of trees. Sometimes it's hard to see the forest for the trees. Puns. This is the full art, one of the full art Kamigawa Neon Dynasty basics. Just some pretty Japanese art. We have a full art forest from Zendikar Rising. Full art forest from Wilds of Eldraine in foil. It's kind of creepy. Kind of triggers a little bit of that, what is it, tryptophobia for me, where you look at lotus blooms or the frogs that have they keep the eggs on their back. It is kind of yucky, but I kind of like it. Next we have second Japanese forest from Kamigawa Neon Dynasty. This one is in foil. It's just, I really like these lands. Next we have another full art Zendikar Rising forest. Then we have, these are the non-full art lands. We have Firmicouria, Eldraine, all of them also in foil. Zendikar Rising. Another Eldraine. Different art Eldraine. This is... oh, goodness. This is Shadows over Innistrad. Spooky Forests. Another Ikoria. Another Ikoria. Another Eldraine. M21. Crimson, Innistrad Crimson Vow. Oh, I forgot, there was one more full art forest. This is the Innistrad Midnight Hunt full art black and white forest in foil. These lands look so dope in foil. It's the silver foil. They're just so shiny. Then we have another Eldraine. Another Shadows over Innistrad. Another Shadows over Innistrad. This is a promo standard showdown forest. Just a fun, harder to get foil. You had to play standard showdown at a friendly local game store. Just cool art. And that's it for this deck. So, as always, chat, we are going to take a brief little break here. We're going to let you hang out and jam to some tunes as we get the next deck set up. This is a perfect opportunity for you to cycle your fluids, maybe grab a snack, maybe refresh a beverage. We'll take a brief little break, and when we come back, we will talk about Oops All Chandras. So, wait, we're going to do it like this, because I said so. It's also easier for me to do. Where's my BRB screen? Hang on. I'll find it. There it is. I thought I lost it. All right, chat. So, we're going to take a quick little 5-10 minute break. Let y'all hang out. Listen to the great tunes by Happy Boy Games. There we go. Is this going to stay? It's not going to behave. We've got to take away the magic card. All right. There we go. Everybody, I'll see y'all in just a few. Let me crank up the volume here a little bit. Whoops. That's not what I wanted. There we go. All right, guys. We'll see you in just a bit. Don't go away. And welcome back, everybody. Welcome, welcome. We're going to switch up the playlist a little bit. Shout out again to Happy Boy Games. Thank you so much for making that awesome music that I love so much. But also want to give some attention and a shout out to Omega on Deck for the great lo-fi tunes that you're hearing right now. Omega does some really cool, well, I guess it's not lo-fi, but also has some dope stream music and was kind enough to share it with me for use in the streams. In fact, before I forget, let me put in the chat there. There we go. Thank you, super glad to create them for you. Thank you, Happy. I'm super glad you did. You see the exclamation jams there, the post that just popped up in chat. If you like the music you're hearing, then click that little link and that'll take you to this playlist that I made of Omega's music. All right, so without further ado, let's jump right back in to our next deck list. As I wet my whistle, because I've been doing lots of yapping. So this is my other pet deck. Well, one of my many pet decks, but it was one of the ones early on. So when I first built this deck, it was right about the time I started getting back into Magic, like 7-8 years ago. And a format that had just come about was called Oathbreaker, where it's like Commander, but you have a 58 card deck instead of a 99 card deck, because in the command zone you have a Planeswalker and a signature spell, right? An instant or sorcery, a non-permanent spell. So I built this deck originally, you could see in the Architect page. The deck is called Shredder Chandra because I set a challenge for myself that I wanted to build a bunch of different Oathbreaker decks and name them all after Ninja Turtle characters, right? So I built an Oathbreaker deck for Leonardo and for Raphael and Michelangelo and Donatello. This was the original Shredder deck that I built that featured a different Planeswalker that we'll see in a little bit. But I then expanded the deck to become a Commander deck because I had this creature here that is a Chandra creature that can become a Planeswalker. So in Oathbreaker, you can't run this as your Oathbreaker because it is a creature, not a Planeswalker. But as you will see, we have pretty much every version of Chandra. There's a couple newer ones that I don't have, but they don't do a lot for the deck. So I've just never gone out of my way to get them, to include them. But this deck can be, just like the mono green one we saw, can also be broken down to become an Oathbreaker deck. So it can do multiple, multi-duty. It can, duty. You can use it as a Commander deck, or you can turn it into an Oathbreaker deck, depending on the pods that you find tables. So, here's the commander of our deck, Chandra, Fire of Kaladesh. 1 red for a legendary human shaman, 2/2, that says whenever you cast a red spell, untap Chandra, Fire of Kaladesh. And you can tap Chandra, Fire of Kaladesh, deals 1 damage to target player. If Chandra has dealt 3 or more damage this turn, exile her and return her to the battlefield transformed under her owner's control. So, what you could do is if you attack with Chandra and she's not blocked, you deal 2 damage, then you cast a red spell, you untap her, you tap her again, she pings a player, that's 3 damage, She then flips into Chandra Roaring Flame. You can see, by the way, this is the special foil from the Vault Transform. So she transforms into Chandra Roaring Flame, legendary Planeswalker Chandra, with 4 loyalty. Has +1 loyalty. Chandra Roaring Flame deals 2 damage to target player. It's just damage over the top. -2 loyalty. Chandra Roaring Flame deals 2 damage to target creature. You just get a shock. And -7 loyalty. Chandra Roaring Flame deals 6 damage to each opponent. Each player dealt damage this way gets an emblem with, at the beginning of your upkeep, this emblem deals 3 damage to you. So at the start of each of my opponent's turns, they just take 3 damage. And then let's have a look at the emblems that I made for this Chandra. Here we have this first emblem. You give to an opponent, beginning of their upkeep. They take 3 damage. Flavor text here is, one time this guy was talking trash about my friend until I set him on fire and he was screaming. Quoted by Chandra. It's a progressing story because we then see another one with the guy on fire and he was like, I'm burning, and whatever. And then the final version, her standing next to a pile of smoldering ash. I'm a little quick to anger, says Chandra. So there's the 3 emblems that I made for this commander. Next up, we have oldie but a goodie, the classic, the original Chandra Nalaar. This is the one from Lorwyn, the original Lorwyn, her very first printing in foil. 3 red for Planeswalker Chandra. This is before they had legendary on the cards. I believe it's since been oracled to be legendary. But when they first were printed, they weren't considered legendary. 6 loyalty. For +1 loyalty, Chandra Nalaar deals 1 damage to target player. She just gets to ping somebody. For -X loyalty, Chandra Nalaar deals 6 damage to target creature. So you could spend 5 mana and just -6 damage to a creature. It will blow her up, but sometimes you just need that hard removal. And then for -8, Chandra Nalaar deals 10 damage to target player and each creature he or she controls. That's since been oracled to they control. So, if you get her in, you plus tick her a couple of times, and then you can just, boom, 10 damage to an opponent's face and all of their creatures. Next up, we have the second version of Chandra, Chandra the Firebrand. 3 and a green for Planeswalker Chandra. Again, it doesn't say legendary. This was before they added that, because this is the first printing of that Chandra. 3 loyalty. For +1 loyalty, Chandra the Firebrand deals 1 damage to target creature or player. So similar to Chandra Nalaar, except that this can deal creature or player. It's a little bit more modal. -2 loyalty, when you cast your next instant or sorcery spell this turn, copy that spell. You may choose new targets for the copy. This is a theme you're going to see repeated in a number of things in this deck. We want extra use of our instants and sorceries. And for -6 loyalty, Chandra the Firebrand deals 6 damage to each of up to 6 target creatures and or players. So, you could just 6 damage to each opponent, but you get 6 targets. So maybe you remove a couple creatures, maybe you dome your opponents, maybe you just one-sided board wipe a player. It's pretty useful for only 4 mana. Next we have Chandra Pyromaster. I believe this is the 3rd version of Chandra from M14. 2 red for Planeswalker Chandra. 4 loyalty. With +1 loyalty, Chandra Pyromaster deals 1 damage to target player and 1 damage to up to 1 target creature that player controls. that creature can't block. So again, similar to Firebrand, but now we get to hit a player and a creature, and that creature can't block. So they progressively get better as Chandra went on. For 0 loyalty, exile the top card of your library. You may play it this turn. That's what's called an impulse draw. Red is getting better about card draw, but for a long time, this was the closest you got for red card draw. And -7 loyalty, exile the top 10 cards of your library. Choose an instant or sorcery exiled this way, and copy it 3 times. You may cast the copies without paying their mana costs. So you just exile 10 cards, pick an instant or sorcery, copy it 3 times for free. Now, all of those cards do stay exiled, but if you get a big burn spell, that can be really useful. Or maybe you hit one of the copy spells that's in this deck and you get multiple free copies. Next up, we have the next version of Chandra, Chandra Ablaze. 4 red for Planeswalker Chandra. This is from, I believe it's Worldwake, if I remember right. 5 loyalty. +1 loyalty, discard a card. If a red card is discarded this way, Chandra Ablaze deals 4 damage to target creature or player. It's a mono red deck. There's a decent chance we're discarding a red card. Unless you discard a land, in which case then you're kind of wasting the ability. -2, each player discards his or her hand, their hand, then draws 3 cards. So you get a Wheel of Fortune type effect. You force everybody to discard and then draw 3. Now mind you, if we have no cards in hand, we just get to draw 3 cards. And for -7 loyalty, cast any number of red instant and or sorcery cards from your graveyard without paying their mana costs. You just basically get to flash everything back. But it doesn't... Flashback is weird because flashback, when you use the flashback cost, you cast it from the graveyard and then you exile that spell so it's removed permanently. This just lets us recast them for free and then they go back in the graveyard so we can always flash them back later. Next up, we have Chandra Torch of Defiance. 2 red. For a legendary Planeswalker Chandra, you can see we've now added the legendary into Planeswalker. They didn't have that originally. 4 loyalty with 4 different abilities. This is from the signature spellbook Chandra in foil. I believe this was originally in Aether Revolt, I want to say, or it might have been the original Kaladesh, but I want to say it was Aether Revolt was where we saw this one the first time. So, +1 loyalty, exile the top card of your library, you may cast that card. If you don't, Chandra Torch of Defiance deals 2 damage to each opponent. So again, we get a little bit of an impulse. We can then cast that card, and if we don't, we get 2 to the table, which is just good. Also, mana acceleration is now a thing. +1 loyalty, add 2 red mana. So really, it can pay for the 2 red we paid to play this the turn it comes down, which is pretty good. 2 mana, get, a Planeswalker in play. -3 loyalty, Chandra Torch of Defiance deals 4 damage to target creature. You just get to blow something up, potentially. And I've noticed, I've said this a few times before, but 4 defense, 4 toughness is really kind of the first hurdle you hit in creatures. 4 toughness is really where creatures start to become difficult to remove or difficult to get off the table, unless you're just using direct kill spells. So, pretty nice that you could pay 4 and take her down to 1 loyalty and just blow up a problem. And For -7, you get an emblem with whenever you cast a spell, this emblem deals 5 damage to any target. You just get to lava axe something every time you cast a spell. That's just good. Now it does cost 7 loyalty, so it might take you a minute to get there. Then we have an art card here. This is, I forget the name of this card, but I really love this artwork. We'll see it here momentarily, but this is the art card for Light Up the Night, which you'll see in just a bit. But I've drawn an emblem for Chandra, Torch of Defiance. This is the emblem you get that says whenever you cast a spell, this deals 5 damage to any target. The flavor text I wrote there, turn 'em and burn 'em, baby, said Chandra. Next up, we have Chandra Flamecaller, 4 red for 4 loyalty, Planeswalker Chandra. Again, this was before we had Legendary. This is from Oath of the Gatewatch. +1 loyalty, put 2 3/1 red elemental creature tokens with haste onto the battlefield. Exile them at the beginning of the next end step. So you just get 2 bodies that can come in and attack immediately. For 0 loyalty, discard all the cards in your hand, then draw that many cards +1. So you just get some, maybe, do you have a handful of lands? Great. Dump them, draw that many +1. It's card advantage. And for -X loyalty, Chandra Flamecaller deals X damage to each creature. Now remember, we're in what's called a Superfriends deck. Superfriends is when you have a deck that's full of Planeswalkers. This is great because you could just pay 6 mana, -4, 4 damage to every creature. You could effectively board wipe your opponents, but you get to keep all your Planeswalkers, because this isn't hitting Planeswalkers, only creatures. There we have the 3/1 elementals. These ones say trample and haste. I haven't been able to find the 3/1 haste elementals, but same stat line, still have haste. There's your elemental tokens. Next up, we have a card that is in Japanese, and astute viewers will notice the playmat that we always have our card holders sitting on. It's of this card. This is one of my favorite card arts and one of my favorite foils that I've ever seen. So, because I can't read Japanese, we'll take in the art here, and then we'll look at the English version of it that I have right after. So very pretty foil. I have this as a playmat. It's been signed by every person I've ever played a game of Magic the Gathering with and every member of my family. It's a very sentimental playmat that I love very much because this is probably my favorite Magic card art of all time. So, that, of course, was Chandra Fire Artisan, 2 red for a legendary Planeswalker Chandra. This is from War of the Spark. Comes in with 4 loyalty, has a static ability of whenever 1 or more loyalty counters are removed from Chandra Fire Artisan, she deals that much damage to target opponent or Planeswalker. So, this is, did you use a minus ability on her? This is, did your opponents attack her? Anytime she loses loyalty, she does that much damage. For +1 loyalty, exile the top card of your library. You may play it this turn. You just get an impulse draw. And for -7, exile the top 7 cards of your library. You may play them this turn. Mind you, if we use that minus ability, we do get 7 damage to target opponent or Planeswalker. So, just a decent little burn that gets you more cards you could play. Then we have Chandra Acolyte of Flame. 1 red for a legendary Planeswalker Chandra. This is the one from M20. One of them. You will see many of them coming up. 4 loyalty. With 0 loyalty, put a loyalty counter on each red planeswalker you control. So you just kind of proliferate all your red planeswalkers. 0 loyalty, create 2 1/1 red elemental creature tokens. They gain haste, sacrifice them at the beginning of the next end step. And for -2, you may cast target instant or sorcery with converted mana cost, or mana value, as it's now called, 3 or less from your graveyard. If that card would be put into your graveyard this turn, exile it instead. So you get to free cast. Wait, is it free? No, it is not free. I apologize. Basically, an instant or sorcery gains flashback, right? As long as it's 3 or less mana value, you just get to recast it. And then you exile it. There's the elemental tokens that Chandra builds. Just makes you 2 hasty 1/1s. Next up, this is very commonly also called Baby Chandra. It's Baby Girl Chandra. Because then we have Teen Chandra, Chandra Novice Pyromancer, 3 and a green, legendary planeswalker Chandra, also from M20. Comes in with 5 loyalty. For +1 loyalty, elementals you control get +2/+0 until end of turn. For -1, add 2 red mana. So again, it could come down and pay for 2 of the mana that you spent. And for -2 loyalty, Chandra Novice Pyromancer deals 2 damage to any target. So you just get a shock. But could also trumpet blast your board if you, say, had Baby Chandra make you some 1/1 elementals. You could make them 3/3s with haste. Next up, we have Chandra Awakened Inferno. So when I talked about this originally being a Oathbreaker deck, this was the Oathbreaker, effectively the commander for the deck. So this would sit in the command zone with a instant or sorcery spell as a signature spell, and the whole deck was built around just copying spells and playing Chandras. So Chandra Awakened Inferno is 4 red for a legendary planeswalker Chandra from M20. Comes in with 6 loyalty, has a static, this spell can't be countered. For +2 loyalty, each opponent gets an emblem with, at the beginning of your upkeep, this emblem deals 1 damage to you. For -3 loyalty, Chandra Awakened Inferno deals 3 damage to each non-elemental creature. So you just get a lightning bolt, or a pyroclasm, I think it is, also does a similar thing. Or for -X loyalty, Chandra Awakened Inferno deals X damage to target creature or planeswalker. If a permanent dealt damage this way would die this turn, exile it instead. So you could just Lava Axe something. You pay 6 mana, you could -5 damage to a creature or planeswalker, and if it goes away, it's removed permanently. But more so, what this one tends to do, this is giving them emblems. And as you will see, we have a few ways to copy planeswalker abilities in this deck. So the build around was give them a bunch of these emblems. Past the turn, they die to emblems. Heads up for anyone in chat, we do have ads incoming in about a minute. Here we have the Chandra Awakened Inferno emblems. This is one of the only emblems that I didn't do custom art for, because I was very fortunate to just get a bunch of those emblems. So I just have a ton on me that I can give to the table. Next up, we have Chandra Flames Catalyst. 4 red for a legendary planeswalker Chandra. Comes in with 5 loyalty. Has +1, Chandra Flames Catalyst deals 3 damage to each opponent. So you just 3 to the table. This is from M21, by the way. -2, You may cast target red instant or sorcery spell from your graveyard. If that spell would be put into your graveyard this turn, exile it instead. Basically, target instant or sorcery gains flashback. And then -8, discard your hand, then draw 7 cards. Until end of turn, you may cast spells from your hand without paying their mana costs. So, if you have no cards in hand, you draw a fresh 7, you play everything for free. It's just some great acceleration. And a cool foil. Next we have Chandra, Heart of Fire. 3 red for a legendary Planeswalker Chandra. Comes in with 5 loyalty. Oh, by the way, this Flames Catalyst, this was from M21, but I believe this was from the Planeswalker deck they released that year. And then this is the Chandra from the main set of M21. So Chandra, Heart of Fire, 3 red, legendary Planeswalker Chandra from M21. Comes in with 5 loyalty, +1 loyalty. Discard your hand, then exile the top 3 cards of your library. Until end of turn, you may play cards exiled this way. So you get 3 impulse draw. If you have no cards in hand, you just get 3 cards you can play. +1, Chandra, Heart of Fire, deals 2 damage to any target, so you just get a shock. Or -9, search your graveyard and library for any number of red or instant and or sorcery cards. Exile them, then shuffle your library. You may cast them this turn, and you add 6 red mana. So you just go get a bunch of your copy and burn spells out of your deck, and you get to cast them, and it makes a bunch of mana to help you. Next up, we have one of my other favorite arts of all time, Chandra, Dressed to Kill. 1 and 2 red for a legendary Planeswalker Chandra. You can see, let's appreciate the foil on this. Chandra in her ball gown. This is the Chandra from Innistrad Crimson Vow. Comes in with 3 loyalty. For +1 loyalty, add a red mana. Chandra, Dressed to Kill, deals 1 damage to up to 1 target player or planeswalker. So really, she only costs 2, because she can refund you 1 of those mana and ping an opponent. Or +1 loyalty, exile the top card of your library. If it's red, you may cast it this turn. So if you do hit a land, it doesn't count. If you hit a colorless card, it doesn't count. But anything other than those, you get to cast it. And for -7 loyalty, exile the top 5 cards of your library. You may cast red spells from among them this turn. You get an emblem with, whenever you cast a red spell, this emblem deals X damage to any target, where X is the amount of mana spent to cast that spell. So you're getting 4 cards off the top, and now for the rest of the game, all of your red spells are dealing damage equal to their mana value. That's just pretty great. And there's the emblem that Chandra, Dressed to Kill gives you. Then we have Chandra, Hope's Beacon. 4 red for a legendary Planeswalker Chandra. This is from March of the Machines. Comes in with 5 loyalty. Has a static ability that says whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, copy it. You may choose new targets for the copy. This ability triggers only once each turn. So basically, your first instant or sorcery, you get 2 of them. That's just a good static ability. For +2 loyalty, add 2 mana in any combination of colors. For us, it obviously is going to be red. So really, again, it can pay for 2 of that mana. So it's really only 4 mana, if you think about it. For +1 loyalty, exile the top 5 cards of your library. Until the end of your next turn, you may cast an instant or sorcery spell among those exiled cards. So it's kind of an impulse draw, except it'll last until the end of your next turn. So you do get a full round to cast them, but it's a little more narrow in that it's only your instants and sorceries. But you are copying the first one, and you can use her mana ability on that next turn. So it's a pretty good one overall. And then minus X, Chandra Hope's Beacon deals X damage to each of up to 2 targets. So worst case scenario, you pay 6 mana, you minus 5, you get 5 damage to any 2 targets, which could be your opponent's faces. Then we have Chandra Legacy of Fire. This is the only Chandra that isn't foil in this deck, because this was part of a commander deck, and appeared in foil in that commander deck, but I pulled this from a booster pack, and the booster pack versions are never in foil. So, Chandra Legacy of Fire here, 4 and a red for a legendary Planeswalker Chandra. This is from Commander Masters. 3 loyalty. At the beginning of your static ability, at the beginning of your end step, Chandra Legacy of Fire deals X damage to each opponent, where X is the number of Planeswalkers you control. So, we get a bunch of Chandras out on the table, we're getting that many damage to each opponent. She counts herself, so it is at least 1 damage. Also has +1 loyalty, add 1 red for each Planeswalker you control. Great mana acceleration. And +0 loyalty, remove a loyalty counter from each of any number of permanents you control. Exile that many cards from the top of your library. You may play them this turn. Great impulse draw. If you got a bunch of your Chandras out, you can just get a bunch of cards from the top of your library and play them. Then we have the only non-Chandra Planeswalker. This is Sarkhan the Masterless, 3 red for a legendary Planeswalker Sarkhan. This is from War of the Spark. Enters with 5 loyalty. Has a static ability whenever a creature attacks you or a Planeswalker you control. Each dragon you control deals 1 damage to that creature. His +1 loyalty is until end of turn, each Planeswalker you control becomes a 4/4 red dragon creature token and gains flying. And for -3 loyalty, you can create a 4/4 red dragon token with flying. So, typically what you'll do is you minus Sarkhan, make a red dragon, go around on the next time, and then you plus tick, and now all of your Planeswalkers are dragons. So that way you've got a little bit of that protection by having that red dragon, so that it's all those dragons you have are dealing damage to those creatures. Now if you get multiple dragons and your opponents are attacking you, you could just kill creatures that are attacking you, or your Planeswalkers. And there is the 4/4 dragon. This, I believe, is one of the tokens from Card Kingdom that I got. Not sponsored, but open to be sponsored. Alright, let's have a look at the creatures in this deck, shall we? Or I guess we're going to look at creatures, enchantments, and artifacts next. So, up first we have Chandra's Magmut, 1 and a red. For a creature, elemental dog, 2/2. With tap, Chandra's Magmut deals 1 damage to target player or Planeswalker. Just a good pinger. You just leave him up as a 2/2 blocker, get to the end of the turn rotation, tap him, ping somebody. Next we have Chandra's Ember Cat. So we got Chandra's Dog and Chandra's Cat. Chandra's Ember Cat is 1 and a red for an elemental cat, 2/2. With tap, add a red mana. Spend this mana only to cast an elemental spell or a Chandra Planeswalker spell. So this helps us get our commander. No, our commander's a creature. It helps us get any of our other Chandras, though. Or, for the couple of elementals we have, like this elemental dog, it can help us get that. Next we have Chandra's Pyreling. 1 and a green for Elemental Lizard, 1/3 with whenever a source you control deals non-combat damage to an opponent, Chandra's Pyreling gets +1/0 and gains double strike until end of turn. So all those little Chandra pings that we do is making this man beefier and giving him double strike. This can do some serious damage to opponents. Then we have Chandra's Incinerator. 5 and a red for a 6/6 elemental. This spell costs X less to cast, where X is the total amount of non-combat damage dealt to your opponents this turn. So with our commander, if we're tapping that Chandra to ping them, we're reducing the cost of this incinerator. Also has trample, and whenever a source you control deals non-combat damage to an opponent, Chandra's Incinerator deals that much damage to target creature or planeswalker this controls. So now all of those Chandras that can ping our opponents, we're now getting damage to their creatures as well. So it's doing some extra duty on all of our ping damage. Next we have Chandra's Phoenix, 1 red for a Phoenix 2/2 with flying and haste. I do love that this card does show us the meaning of haste. This creature can attack or tap as soon as it comes into play under your control, as soon as it enters. This is from M12, so this is back when they would still put the explainer text on some keywords. But more importantly, whenever an opponent is dealt damage by a red instant or sorcery spell you control, or by a red planeswalker you control, return Chandra's Phoenix from your graveyard to your hand. So we ping an opponent with a Chandra, we get this guy back from the graveyard. We cast a Lightning Bolt or a Shock, we get this guy back from our graveyard. We tap our Magmut, we get this guy back from our graveyard. No, wait. Nope, instant sorcery or red planeswalker. Never mind. Never mind on the Magmut ping. But still, many ways that we can just swing in with this 2/2 flying haste. And if it dies, we'll just get it back. Next we have Chandra's Spitfire, 2 and a red for a 1/3 elemental with flying. Whenever an opponent is dealt non-combat damage, Chandra's Spitfire gets +3/0 until end of turn. So again, it's a 1/3 flyer. You use some of your Chandra pings. This can quickly get up to, I mean, the first time you do it, it's a 4/3. Then it's a 7/3. Then it's a 10/3, right? All of those little pings that we get off Chandra can make this thing a big problem real fast. Next up, we have Carekeep Disciples. 2 red for a human monk, 4/3 with whenever you activate a loyalty ability of a Chandra Planeswalker, Carekeep Disciples deals 1 damage to each opponent. So now, even on those Chandras that have mana abilities, or if we're doing the ping abilities, we're getting extra damage. This is one of the cards that was also in the Chandra Planeswalker deck. Next up, we have Kessig Flamebreather, 1 and a red for a human shaman, 1/3. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, Kessig Flamebreather deals 2 damage to each opponent. It's just good extra ping to the table for all those non-creature spells. Mind you, it's not instant or sorcery. It's non-creature. Planeswalker spells are non-creatures. So all of the Chandras we cast are doming the table. Next we have Planebound Accomplice, 2 and a red for a 1/3 human wizard. With pay a red, you may put a Planeswalker card from your hand onto the battlefield, sacrifice it at the beginning of the next end step. Do you just hard need your Planeswalker to hit the table this turn so you can use an ability? Maybe one of those Chandras that has a -X ability? You can just pop it down for 1 mana and blow it up and get its burn. Next, we have the Red Terror. This is one of the cards from the Warhammer 40k product. 3 and a red for a legendary Tyrannid 4/3 with advanced species. Whenever a red source you control deals damage to one or more permanents and or players, put a 1/1 counter on the red terror. This is part of a combo we'll look at momentarily. But also all of our Chandra pings, all of our other creature incidental ping damage, those are all going to make this thing bigger. We'll set that off to the side so I can show you the things it combos with really easily. Next we have Runaway Steamkin, 1 and a red for a 1/1 elemental with whenever you cast a red spell. If Runaway Steamkin has fewer than 3 1/1 counters on it, put a 1/1 counter on Runaway Steamkin. And you can remove 3 1/1 counters from Runaway Steamkin to add 3 red mana. This is just good stock. We're casting red spells. This is getting bigger. We can remove those counters at instant speed, add mana. It's just a good way to stockpile some things. Next we have Fortune Thief, 4 and a red for a human rogue 0/1 that does have Morph. Morph is, you can spend 3 mana, play this as a face-down 2/2 creature, and turn it face-up anytime for its Morph cost. Its Morph cost is 2 red. That says, damage that would reduce your life total to less than 1, reduces it to 1 instead. This is a great way to help keep you alive if you need. You know, you morph this in, your opponent's about to go for the kill, you pay 2, boom. Now you can't die. Unless they kill this. Next up we have Kazul, Tyrant of the Cliffs, 3 red for a legendary Ogre Warrior 5/4 with whenever a creature an opponent controls attacks. If you were the defending player, you make a 3/3 red Ogre creature token, unless that creature's controller pays 3 mana. So, if they attack us, we're making bodies, unless they want to pay the tax of 3, which is quite a bit for that effect. So you get blockers. Next we have Heartless Hidetsugu, 3 red for a legendary Ogre Shaman, 4/3. With tap, Heartless Hidetsugu deals damage to each player equal to half that player's life total rounded down. This can just kill people if you do it right. There's a couple damage doubler things we have in this deck that could just kill our opponents. Next up we have Torbran, Thane of Redfell, 1 red for a legendary Dwarf Noble, 2/4, with if a red source you control would deal damage to an opponent, or a permanent an opponent controls, it deals that much damage plus 2 instead. All those Chandra pings are now 3. If we have Torbran out, and we use our commander for that tap deal 1 damage to target player, it's now 3 damage. She transforms immediately. Next up we have another new damage accelerant piece, Oher Ashenil. I see a lot of people say this wrong. They say Oger Axenil. It's Oher Ashenil. It is a South American word, or South American pronunciation. So Oher Ashenil, Deepest Might, 2 red for a legendary god 4/4 with trample. If a red source you control would deal an amount of non-combat damage less than Oher Ashenil's power to an opponent, that source deals damage equal to Oher Ashenil's power instead. So all of those pings become 4 damage. That's just great. And when Oher Ashenil dies, you return it to the battlefield tapped and transformed under its owner's control. Let's have a look at what Oher Ashenil transforms into, shall we? Becomes Temple of Power, a land that taps for red mana, and you can pay 2 and a red, tap, transform Temple of Power, activate only if red sources you controlled dealt 4 or more non-combat damage this turn, and only as a sorcery. So, if we get 4 damage, maybe our pings, Whatever the case is, as long as it's non-combat damage, we can pay 3 mana, and O'Hare Ashenil comes right back. Next we have Young Peasy. Young Pyromancer, 1 and a red for a Human Shaman, 2/1 with whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, create a 1/1 red elemental creature token. It's just good. You love a Young Peasy in a Spellslinger deck. Next up, we have a very cool looking card. This is Solfim Mayhem Dominus. This is the, oh, what did they call it? I think it was the Ink Slick treatment. It was the all black treatment from the All Will Be One completed bundles. So Solfim Mayhem Dominus, 2 red for a legendary Phyrexian Horror, 5/4 with if a source you control would deal non-combat damage to an opponent or permanent an opponent controls, it deals double that damage to that player or permanent instead. Hey, remember Heartless Hitotsugu? If you tap Hitotsugu with this out, it kills your opponents. Because it looks and says, oh, half their life total. If they're at an even number, I suppose. Right? If your opponents are at 40, you tap Hitotsugu, deals 20 to them, but this doubles it, so it's just 40 damage. They just die. Also, you can pay 1 Phyrexian red, discard 2 cards, put an indestructible counter on Solfim Mayhem Dominus. You then have an indestructible 5/4 that doubles all of your non-combat damage. And it's a very cool foil. I dig the oil slick foils. Next we have Jaya's Phoenix, 4 and a red for a 3/3 Phoenix with flying and haste. Whenever Jaya's Phoenix deals combat damage to a player or planeswalker, copy the next loyalty ability you activate this turn when you activate it. You may choose new targets for the copy. And whenever you cast a planeswalker spell, you may return Jaya's Phoenix from your graveyard to the battlefield. So we're just getting double use of our planeswalker abilities. Now, mind you, it's copying the effect, not the loyalty cost. So +1, minus whatever, that is all part of the cost of activating the abilities, but this will just copy that ability. So you get double use on all your activations of your planeswalkers. Next up, we have another oil slick foil. This is the big one. All Will Be One. 3 red for an enchantment. Whenever you put 1 or more counters on a permanent or player, All Will Be One deals that much damage to target opponent, creature, and opponent controls, or planeswalker and opponent controls. So it's basically any target. Remember the Red Terror I was talking about? So Red Terror has whenever a source deals damage to 1 or more opponents and or players, he gets a 1/1 counter. All Will Be One says, did you put a counter on a permanent? Deal that much damage to any target. This is infinite combo. Right there. If you have Red Terror and All Will Be One, you swing in with Red Terror, deals 4 damage, he gets a 1/1 counter. All Will Be One deals 1 damage to your opponent. You dealt damage, you put a 1/1 counter. That 1/1 counter deals a damage. That damage puts a 1, and you see how it just kills everybody. Next up, we have another of the combo pieces for All Will Be One. Quest of Pure Flame, 1 red for an enchantment, says, if a source you control deals damage to an opponent, you may put a quest counter on Quest for Pure Flame. And you can remove 4 quest counters from Quest of Pure Flame and sacrifice it. If any source you control would deal damage to a creature or player this turn, it deals double that damage to that creature or player instead. All Will Be One and Quest for Pure Flame. This just cares about any kind of counter, including loyalty counters, by the way. Did you activate a plus loyalty ability on your Chandra? it's dealing that much damage. Then Quest for Pure Flame gets a quest counter, which deals a damage, which puts a quest counter, which deals a damage, which puts a quest counter. Infinite Death. Next up, we have Aether Revolt. 2 red for an enchantment with Revolt. As long as a permanent you control left the battlefield this turn, if a source you control would deal non-combat damage to an opponent or a permanent an opponent controls, it deals that much damage +2 instead. And whenever you get 1 or more energy, Aether Revolt deals that much damage to any target. We don't have anything that produces energy in this deck, that I remember anyway. It's just there as a, did you blow up a Chandra? Now you're getting all that damage +2. It's just another damage doubler. Next we have the Oath of Chandra, 1 and a red for a legendary enchantment. When Oath of Chandra enters the battlefield, it deals 3 damage to target creature an opponent controls, and at the beginning of each end step, if a planeswalker entered the battlefield under your control this turn, Oath of Chandra deals 2 damage to each opponent. So now you're just getting free shock damage. First of all, you get a lightning bolt to a creature, and then you get shock to the table just by playing your Chandras. It's just a great spell to have in a Super Friends deck. Next we have Fiery Emancipation, 3 red for an enchantment. If a source you controlled would deal damage to a permanent or player, it deals triple that damage to that permanent or player instead. This is here for Chandra. Do not use this with Hidetsugu. If you use this with Hidetsugu, it draws the game. Because Hidetsugu does the damage to each player, including you, and this triples the damage to everyone. So you don't want to Hidetsugu with this guy. But all of your burn spells are now awesome. Next we have Virtue of Courage, 3 red for an enchantment with whenever a source you control deals non-combat damage to an opponent, you may exile that many cards from the top of your library. You may play those cards this turn. This with Hidetsugu is great. You can deck yourself out. If all of your opponents are at 40, you tap Hidetsugu, he's dealing damage that is non-combat. If you have 3 opponents and they just lost 20 health, you exile 60 cards from the top of your library. It's just a really funny ability. But also has Embereth Blaze. So this is an adventure. 1 and a red for an instant adventure. Embereth Blaze deals 2 damage to any target. So again, you can use the burn on this and then cast the enchantment later. Next we have Rowan's Talent, 2 red for an enchantment aura, enchant Planeswalker. This is the first time we're seeing an aura that can hit a Planeswalker. The enchanted Planeswalker gets +1 loyalty, up to 1 target creature gets +2/0, and gains first strike and trample until end of turn. So just a nice little alternative. Hey, here's a new ability for one of your Planeswalkers. Maybe it's one of the ones that doesn't have a +tick ability or something. Now you can just beef one of your creatures. But also has, whenever you activate a loyalty ability of the enchanted Planeswalker, copy that ability. You may choose new targets for the copy. You remember Chandra Awakened Inferno, the one that gives the emblems that deals the damage to your opponents? This is in here for her. We can use this to copy that ability and give them multiple emblems that deals damage. Next we have Luxior Giada's Gift. 1 mana legendary artifact equipment. Equipped creature gets +1/+1 for each counter on it. Equipped permanent isn't a Planeswalker and is a creature in addition to its other types, but the loyalty abilities can still be activated and equips to a Planeswalker for 1 or equips to a creature for 3. Put this on Red Terror, it just becomes a massive problem. Put this on any of your Chandras, It's no longer a planeswalker, but you can still activate its loyalty abilities, making it a big creature. It's a great way to turn your Chandras into combat damage. Next up, we have the Chain Veil. 4 mana for a legendary artifact at the beginning of your end step. If you didn't activate a loyalty ability of a planeswalker this turn, you lose 2 life. That is unlikely to happen in this deck, but pay 4 and tap. For each planeswalker you control, you may activate one of its loyalty abilities once this turn, as though none of its loyalty abilities have been activated. So if you've got a bunch of Chandras out, you activate all their abilities, you pay 4, you tap this, you get to activate them all again. It's just great. You get double use of them. And this is counting the cost. So if you have a plus ability, you can do that plus ability twice and potentially get to your ultimate activations on your planeswalkers in half the time. Next up, we have Chandra's Regulator, 1 and a red for a legendary artifact. Whenever you activate a loyalty ability of a Chandra planeswalker, you may pay 1. If you do copy that ability, you may choose new targets for the copy. And you can pay 1, tap, discard a mountain card or a red card to draw a card. So you just get some card selection, and you're getting extra use out of your loyalty abilities. Also, with Chain Veil, it's on each of those activations. It's whenever. So you activate all of your Chandras, you pay 1, you copy those abilities, you pay 4, you get to activate them again, you pay 1 on each of them, you activate them again. Yeah, it's going to take a lot of mana, but we have some ways to get lots of mana in this deck. Next up, we have Gauntlet of Power, 5 mana for an artifact. As Gauntlet of Power enters the battlefield, choose a color. Creatures of the chosen color get +1/+1. This is symmetrical, so obviously you choose red. So all of our red creatures are +1/+1. And whenever a basic land is tapped for mana of the chosen color, its controller adds an additional 1 mana of that color. This is mana acceleration for all of our basic mountains. It is helping opponents, but it's helping us more, as you will see from our mana base. And that's it for our permanents. Let's have a look at all of the instants and sorceries that we cast. You can see there's quite a grip of non-permanent spells in this deck. So up first we have Demand Answers, 1 and a red, instant. As an additional cost to cast this spell, sacrifice an artifact or discard a card to draw 2 cards. We have Chandra's Outrage, 2 red for an instant. Chandra's Outrage deals 4 damage to target creature and 2 damage to that creature's controller. It's just decent removal, especially with all of the copy effects we have. Next we have Chandra's Fury, 4 and a red for an instant. Chandra's Fury deals 4 damage to target player and 1 to each creature that player controls. Removes all the little 1/1 idiots. Next we have Thrum of the Vestige, or Lightning Bolt, 1 red for an instant, deals 3 damage to any target. It's the classic burn, Bolt the Bird. Next we have Chandra's Pyrohelix, 1 and a red for an instant. Chandra's Pyrohelix deals 2 damage divided as you choose among 1 or 2 targets. So you can either ping 2 things, you could deal 2 damage to 1 thing, you split it up as you need. With all of our damage doublers and like Torbran, this could become 3 damage to 2 targets. Or 4 damage to up to 2 targets. Next we have Reverberate, 2 red for an instant. Copy target instant or sorcery spell. You may choose new targets for the copy. Why not double Lightning Bolt? Double Lightning Bolt for 3 mana? Sounds pretty decent. Next we have Repeated Reverberation. This was a signature spell when we had an Oathbreaker deck. You just keep this in your command zone next to your Chandra Awakened Inferno. 2 red for an instant. When you next cast an instant spell, cast a sorcery spell, or activate a loyalty ability this turn, copy that spell or ability twice. You may choose new targets for the copies. You have this with Chandra Awakened Inferno. You plus tick, you spend 4 mana, each opponent gets 3 emblems. Pretty great. And this can be copied with things like Reverberate. So if you have 6 mana, you can cast Repeated Reverberation and cast Reverberate on it to copy it, to copy that ability 4 times. Next up, we have another card in Japanese that I cannot read, but man, is that art beautiful. This is from the Mystical Archives, but only from the Japanese packs from the first Strixhaven. Just super dope artwork. We do have an English copy so that we have a readable version. That card was Increasing Vengeance. 2 red for an instant. Copy target instant or sorcery spell you control. If this spell was cast from your graveyard, copy that spell twice instead. You may choose new targets for the copies. Has flashback for 3 red. Just great copy rates. Great target to copy your Repeated Reverberation. Or copy your Reverberate that's copying a Repeated Reverberation. Next up, we have Double Cast. 2 red, sorcery. When you cast your next instant or sorcery spell this turn, copy that spell. You may choose new targets for the copy. Again, great copy ability to copy all of our burn spells or copy our loyalty copies, things like that. Next, we have more good draw. In Faithless Looting, 1 red for a sorcery. Draw 2 cards and discard 2 cards, and has flashback for 2 and a red. Hey, draw 2 cards. Choose the 2 things that you don't need. Are you flooding out? Get rid of those 2 lands. Do you have too many spells and need some lands? Pitch a couple of your cards with flashback and get some lands. Great card selection. Next, we have Cathartic Reunion. 1 and a red, sorcery. As an additional cost to cast the spell, discard 2 cards, but you get to draw 3 cards. Again, good target for all of your flashback spells. You pitch them in the bin, you draw some cards, you flashback the cards in your bin. And here's the mana acceleration I was talking about. This is a bracket 4 deck because of this card. Jeska's Will is 2 and a red for a sorcery. Choose 1 if you control a commander as you cast this spell. You may choose both. You add red for each card in target opponent's hand, and you exile the top 3 cards of your library. You may play them this turn. So you get card advantage, and you get mana ramp. This card is a game changer. It can make you so much mana. Is your opponent playing, oops, I drew my deck? Cool. Make that much mana and just kill them with damage spells. Next, we have Fairer Mana Ramp, Mana Geyser, 3 red for a sorcery. Add red to your mana pool for each tapped land your opponents control. Are your opponents all tapping out and it comes to your turn? Great. Make a bunch of mana. Get a bunch of your planeswalkers out. Copy a bunch of your spells multiple times. Next, we have Sundering Eruption, 2 and a red for a sorcery. Destroy target land. Its controller may search their library for a basic land card, put it onto the battlefield, tap, then shuffle. Creatures without flying can't block this turn. So this is a really nice way to get in with some of your elemental tokens you're making, or any of your creatures really. You can see this is a modal double-faced card. On its backside, it is Volcanic Fissure. It's a land. When it enters the battlefield, you can pay 3 life. If you don't, it enters tapped and taps for red. So it's got good selection there. If you just absolutely need your land drop, you can play it tapped. If you absolutely need it untapped, you pay 3 life. Or if you need to remove a problematic land, just blow it up. Or maybe just, I need my opponent to not be able to block with their non-flyers. Good modality of a card. That, I will point out, can be copied multiple times. If we copy this multiple times with all of our copy sources, you can mass land destroy. You can blow up all of your opponent's lands if you copy it enough times, which is kind of dirty. Now, they do get to search for basics, but not enough players play enough basics these days, and they are getting them tapped. Next, we have Fiery Confluence, 2 red for a sorcery. Choose 3. You may choose the same mode more than once. Fiery Confluence deals 1 damage to each creature. Fiery Confluence deals 2 damage to each opponent, or destroy target artifact. So, we choose 3. We can choose multiples. You could either deal 3 damage to each creature. You could deal 6 to each opponent. You could blow up 3 artifacts. You could do 1 of each. You could do 2 damage to each creature and 2 to each opponent. Good modality spells. Fiery Confluence is a great way to get exactly what you need in burn damage. Next we have Soulfire Eruption, 6 red for a sorcery. But you choose any number of target creatures, planeswalkers, and or players. For each of them, exile the top card of your library, then Soulfire Eruption deals damage equal to that card's converted mana cost to that permanent or player. You may play the exiled card until the end of your next turn. So, we could choose all of our Chandras, we could choose all of our players. For each of them, we flip the top card, and we're dealing damage equal to its CMC to those permanents. I guess you wouldn't want to choose your planeswalkers. But imagine you flip, here we go. You flip a card like Mana Geyser, right? I choose all of my opponent's creatures and all of my opponents. I pay 9 mana. I flip Mana Geyser. I get 5 damage to all of them. And you get to play that card until your next turn. That's just good burn. Next we have Chandra's Ignition, 3 red for a sorcery. Target creature you control deals damage equal to its power to each other creature and each opponent. Hey, that Chandra's Phoenix we had that was getting super big from all the non-combat damage, what if it just hit the table and all of their creatures with its power? And that's non-combat damage, which is then going to boost it a bunch. This with the Phoenix can end a game. Next up we have Light Up the Night. See, I told you we'd see the card that we saw that art card for. X and a red for a sorcery. Light Up the Night deals X damage to any target. It deals X plus 1 damage instead if that target is a creature or planeswalker. And has flashback for 3 and a red. Remove X loyalty counters from among planeswalkers you control. If you cast the spell this way, X can't be 0. So if you just hard need to remove a creature, do you have some planeswalkers that are sitting at 1 loyalty and you're happy to blow them up? Pay 4, remove all those loyalty counters, you just get to use this spell again. Next we have Chandra's Revolution, 3 and a red for a sorcery. Chandra's Revolution deals 4 damage to target creature. Tap target land. That land doesn't untap during its controller's next untap step. Does your opponent have a problematic land? Tap it down. It won't untap next turn, and you get 4 damage to one of their creatures. Pretty good for 4 mana. Then we have Rite of Flame. Not the greatest card in Commander, because it is a singleton format. But it is still mana ramp, kind of. Rite of Flame, 1 red for a sorcery. You add 2 red, then add a red for each card named Rite of Flame in each graveyard. So if our opponent is playing Rite of Flame, this does get better, but the chances are low that they would have that. But 1 red makes us 2 red, so it pays for itself immediately and gives us 1 extra mana. If you just absolutely are 1 short to do that cool thing, this will get you there. Next we have Past in Flames, 3 in a red. Each instant and sorcery card in your graveyard gains flashback until end of turn. The flashback cost is equal to its mana cost and flashes back for 4 in a red. I've used this with Runaway Steamkin before to do some massive, crazy, wild loops with stuff. Because you can give everything flashback, cast a bunch of stuff. Steamkin's getting counters. You remove those counters to add mana, to cast more things. It does some kooky things. Next we have Gamble. Again, another of the game changers in this deck. At least I'm pretty sure it's a game changer. I think Gamble is on the game changer list. I know Jessica's Will is. Yeah, Gamble is the other game changer in this deck. So Gamble is 1 red mana, sorcery, search your library for a card, put that card in your hand, then you discard a card at random and shuffle. There's a chance you discard the thing you tutor for, but that's okay. If you're tutoring for a card like Past in Flames, hey, it has flashback. Or maybe you tutor for something else that has flashback. It's okay if it hits the graveyard. Next we have, okay, real talk. This is one of the other big reasons why this is considered a bracket 4 deck. It's Jockle Hops. 4 red for a sorcery. You destroy all artifacts, creatures, and lands. It says bury all, but that was the old wording for destroy. So this is mass land destruction. It is fair. It's symmetrical. It blows up all of our artifacts, creatures, and lands. But if we're in a Super Friends deck and we have a bunch of Planeswalkers out, we can cast this, blow up everything, and then just burn out our opponents before they have a chance to kill our Planeswalkers. So, this is in here because why not? Plus, we have a few Chandras that will make us mana, so sometimes you can help keep your tempo up, making mana with Chandra without being blasted back to the Stone Age. Yeah, this is a very salt-inducing card, and it is part of the reason why this is in bracket 4, because that's mass land destruction. And speaking of lands, let's look at our land base. So, up first we have Carekeep. This is a legendary land, taps for colorless, but you can pay 1 in a red and tap to create a 0/1 red kobold creature token named Kobolds of Carekeep. It just makes you a little body. Makes you a blocker. There's the Kobolds of Carekeep token. Just makes you a little 0/1. Just a little guy. Maybe you need to instant speed make a blocker to keep your Chandra alive. Up next we have Karn's Bastion. Again, just like we saw in the Omnath deck, we are a Super Friends deck. So having Proliferate on a stick, Karn's Bastion, of course, the land, taps for colorless. You pay 4, tap, and Proliferate. This, with All Will Be One out, deals a lot of damage. You just proliferate all of your counters. All Will Be One starts dealing a bunch of damage to the table. It's just a good utility. Next we have Thespian Stage. It's a land, taps for colorless. You pay 2 and tap. Thespian Stage becomes a copy of target land, except it has this ability. So we could copy our Karn's Bastion to have extra proliferate. We could copy our, well, you don't want to copy your Carekeep because it's a legendary land. But it's mainly in here because Thespian Stage can copy Lotus Field. Lotus Field is a land that has hexproof. It enters tapped, and when Lotus Field enters the battlefield, sacrifice 2 lands, but it taps for 3 mana of any one color. So it is mana even, but you can tap the lands that you're sacrificing. But if we have Thespian Stage, we could pay the mana and have Thespian Stage become another Lotus Field. Now we have 2 lands that tap for 3 mana. Next we have Spinerock Knoll. It's a land with Hideaway. So when this land enters, it enters tapped. When it does, you look at the top 4 cards of your library, you exile a card face down, then you put the rest on the bottom of your library. This land then taps, it can tap for red, or you can pay a red and tap. You can play the exiled card without paying its mana cost if an opponent was dealt 7 or more damage this turn. Doesn't have to be non-combat damage, but in the deck we have, it very easily can deal 7 non-combat damage, and then you pay 1 and get whatever thing you exiled for free. It's just a very good way to cheat something out. Next we have Castle Embereth. It's a land. It enters the battlefield tapped unless you control a mountain, taps for red, and 1 red tap. Creatures you control get +1/+0 until end of turn. You just get a nice little trumpet blast for your board. It comes in untapped because realistically, we probably have a mountain in play when Embereth hits. Next we have Valakut the Molten Pinnacle. Valakut enters the battlefield tapped, and whenever a mountain enters the battlefield under your control, if you control at least 5 other mountains, you may have Valakut the Molten Pinnacle deal 3 damage to any target, and it taps for red mana. This is a great land. If you have 5 or more mountains, right, you play your 6th mountain, now you're getting a lightning bolt every time you hit a land. That's just good, especially with all the damage doublers and triplers and the plus to damages we have. This can just kill players. And now let's have a look at our basic lands. So we're going to take a look at our full arts first. We have a basic mountain from Lord of the Rings in foil. This is one of the map lands. We have a full art mountain from Battle for Zendikar. Full art mountain from Theros Beyond Death. Full art mountain in Japanese from Kamigawa Neon Dynasty. You see that's the kanji for mountain. Again, I really dig these full art Japanese lands. We have the Oil Slick Mountain from the Phyrexia Completed Bundle. That is apparently the word for mountain in Phyrexian. We have another Phyrexian mountain, but this is the, from All Will Be One. This is the, I forget the treatment they called it, but it basically, it was like the metal poster. It was very rock and roll. Then we have the full art foil mountain from Phyrexia All Will Be One that's not in Phyrexian. You get to see the red sphere of Phyrexia. Then we have a foil Theros Beyond Death land. These are the non-full arts, the non-full art basics, but all in foil. We have Innistrad Midnight Hunt. We have Throne of Eldraine. Another Throne of Eldraine. M20. Another M20 mountain. Another Throne of Eldraine mountain. Another M20 mountain. An Ikoria mountain. Another Throne of Eldraine Mountain. All of these are different art, by the way. I like to have my basics have completely unique art. I don't match my basic arts. I like them to all be different. And I usually like them foil. We have another Ikoria Mountain. This is the standard Showdown promo mountain art. Another Ikoria Mountain. And then another Japanese mountain, but this one is from Mercadian Masks. This is not in foil, but it's very cool. Old border mountain with that Rob Alexander art in Japanese. You don't find these every day. I just really dug that foreign mountain. And one of my... This could well be my favorite basic land I own, if I'm honest. It is the John Avon Mountain from, I want to say that's Urza's Saga, the 2 gears. I think it's Urza's Saga. I think it's one of the Urza sets. But this is in Korean. This is San, which is the Korean word for mountain. It is a Deji, which is land, and tap 당신의 mana pule red rule 대한다. So, in Korean, this is saying I, 당신의, I, mana, pule, pool, red rule, right, red, rule is a sentence particle, and dahanda is like add, so it's tap, add 1 red mana to your mana pool. There you go. You add 1 red mana to your mana pool. There you go. One of my favorite basics ever. Because for those who didn't know in the podcast and in chat, I do know how to read and write Korean. There you go. My translation still needs some work. Not conversational. Haven't been in years because I'm well out of practice. But very cool mountain. And there we go. So that was our decks for this week. Let me go ahead and flip the camera around. There we go. Once again, want to shout out to Happy Boy Games for the theme music we were listening to earlier. Oh, you know what? One sec. We're going to flip the camera back around because I forgot there's a couple of bonus cards I want to show you guys. So one final thing. These just sit as fun stuff in the deck box. Yo, what's up, T? How's it going? Welcome on in. Welcome, welcome. Shout out to Cosmic Teapots, friends. Let me get you some shout outs. One sec. Shout out to my Oshi. If y'all aren't following Cosmic Teapots on Twitch and YouTube, then do so. She's a great VTuber that plays a lot of super fun games. We love the Gamba. We love the gachas. Welcome on in, T. So, yeah, these are just some cards that I had. I love the tea time emote. By the way, because we are still in the month of Fanuary, we do have the fan favorite emote, the slime tea. My homage to one Cosmic Teapots in our emotes. But yeah, so these are the final cards I just wanted to show off. These are just fun, very cool cards, but also very sentimental for me. So this is the foil stamped art card for that Chandra Hope's Beacon that we saw from March of the Machine. Just a cool art card. We also have the Infinity Elemental. This is not a legal card in Commander. This is from one of the unsets, but I just love how this card looks. It's got that continuing into infinity art. If it were legal, you could pay 4 red for a Infinity 5 Elemental. This creature has infinite power. And I love the flavor text here. It's so infinite that its flavor text says, 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 it's so infinite that its flavor text says. Yeah, the Infinity Elemental is super cool. And it's in foil, so it's all shiny. This is not a legal card to play in any format that isn't like limited, constructed, unset. But it's just funny. Cool art. And then these are the most sentimental cards that I own. So if you didn't know, years ago they did the Magic profiles, right? They found that there was 3 types of Magic players: Johnnies, Timmies, and Spikes. They then found that there was a 4th, like, sub-personality. So these are the Magic personalities, right, for players that you'll meet. And typically you fall into one of these categories. They also added a 4th one, which is my favorite. So this is Vorthos, Steward of Myth, 1 and a red. Again, none of these cards are legal in any format. They're all unset cards. But Vorthos, Steward of Myth, 1 and a red for a legendary creature, human gamer, with 1 power, 3 toughness. As Vorthos, Steward of Myth enters the battlefield, choose a named Magic character. Each spell you cast with the chosen character in its name, flavor text, or art costs Wooburg less to cast, so white, blue, black, red, green. This effect reduces only the amount of colored mana you pay. So Vorthos are the members of the community that care about the lore and story of Magic the Gathering. You can see this is signed in silver. That is my autograph. That is my signature. I didn't have anything to do with this card, but I am a Vorthos. I am that player that cares about the lore and the characters and all of that. So, I had this one. I signed this one in silver because I'm the Vorthos of my play group. So, you're about to see my original play group when I played Commander super heavily. And they're all family. Next up, we have Johnny, combo player, 2 blue for a legendary creature, human gamer, 1/1 with pay 4, search your library for a card, put that card into your hand, then shuffle your library. This is signed by Billy Kills, mod of the channel. Billy is a Johnny. He is the combo player. Anytime new cards come out, he's the person that would come to me super excited and be like, look, I found a new infinite combo. A lot of the infinite combos you see in my decks, Billy's the one that pointed them out. He's the one that got me back into Magic after many, many years away, specifically playing Commander, and then told me about Oathbreaker, which got me even more heavily back into Magic. So 7-8 years ago when I built this deck, that was all thanks to Billy Kills. So he signed that one for me. Then we have RIP to another family member. He's no longer with us, but he was my brother from another mother. I'm not only a Vorthos, I'm also a Timmy. Timmies are the Timmy Power Gamer here is 2 green for a legendary human gamer, 1/1. You pay 4, you put a creature card from your hand onto the battlefield. This is signed by my brother John, who again, rest his soul. He and I were both Timmy players. We just love playing big, stupid creatures. Just put creatures into play, turn them sideways. Math is for blockers. So John signed my Timmy card there. And then she was here earlier. I don't know if she's still around. But we have Spike, Tournament Grinder, 2 Phyrexian Black, so can be paid with 2 life on each of those. Legendary Creature Human Gamer, 1/1. The Phyrexian Black, of course, can be paid with black mana or 2 life. And you can pay 4 Phyrexian Black mana, choose a card you own from outside the game that has been banned or restricted in a constructed format, reveal that card and put it into your hand. Again, these cards not legal, but that's been signed by Chicken, mod of the channel, friend of the channel, and my sister, who was here earlier. She was very much, the joke there, she's not a super competitive player, but she is my gay rival. I'm her gay rival. So she was the Spike. She's my rival. So she signed that one for me. So I keep those cards in the extra sideboard of my decks just for sentimentality, because this is my baby. This is my baby deck, my Chandra deck. So there you go. Those aren't on the Architect deck list because, again, they are illegal cards in Commander, so there's no way to add them to deck lists or anything. Can't add them to a maybe board. But wanted to show those off before we find somebody to raid. Let's get that set up here. So, friends, as you're going to see here in the chat, you're going to see a couple of messages come up, both a raid and a sub-raid. If you are subscribed to the channel, you can copy that sub-raid message. I know it doesn't show the emote. I'm not going to waste a gifted sub on a chat bot. But if you do copy it and get ready to paste it when we raid, it will paste the emote, I promise. If you are not subbed, you can copy the regular raid message. As we find someone to raid, I think JR should still be live. We do love to raid our guru, friend of the channel. Yep, he's still there. JR is reading through the Life is Strange comic books. So we are going to go raid the guru. Friends, it's been a pleasure. It's been a treat. Once again, I want to thank you so very much for tuning in and remind you, if you missed any part of tonight's stream, you can watch the VODs here or over on our YouTube. If you're watching this on YouTube and you made it this far and you're not subscribed to the channel, because a shocking percentage of you aren't, do me a favor and subscribe. If you've been watching this podcast today and you've just been lurking, first of all, thank you. Or you've been engaging in the chat, thank you very much. I appreciate you. Maybe consider following if you're not already following the channel. That way you don't miss any of this content. But friends, until next time, remember, again, we will be back Tuesday with more Missive and Readable, finishing up Stray Gods, playing through the Orpheus DLC, doing all 3 of the color runs. Then Thursday with Replay, finishing up Spider-Man. Saturday, finishing up Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. And then we won't be back with Such a Brew About Nothing next Sunday. We'll be back in 2 weeks, okay? So March 8th, mark your calendars. We'll be back with another Such a Brew About Nothing. Until the next time, friends, I've been Triune. You've been amazing. Take care of yourselves and each other. And we will catch you in the next one. All right, everybody, get ready. Let's raid.